Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Pick a Side Podcast. My name is Ja Morant and I'm here with Riv and John Carlos. This is first time on the show in a very long time. This is now episode 87. And in this episode, we are going to talk about the future of the Celtics, the Clippers going down 0-2 versus the Mavericks. If we believe the Heat will come back versus the Milwaukee Bucks, the Lakers winning a must-win game against the Suns, the Knicks winning versus Atlanta, Ja Morant, and the Portland and Denver series. And we'll also talk about Jason Tatum's top 5 NBA list and whether the Pelicans should fire Stan Van Gundy. So this is now episode 87. If you guys would like to, you guys could review our podcast on Apple Podcasts. We're almost at 30 reviews, so it would mean a lot if you guys did that. So yeah, this JC's first time, and I don't even know how long, since like episode the 30s. Yeah. If you're an OG Pick a Side fan, you remember him. If you just came on board recently, you probably don't. But nonetheless, this is going to be a great show. And we're going to start off with this because I think this is probably one of the worst series of the first round. It's not the 76ers versus the Wizards. It's the Brooklyn Nets versus the Celtics. But it's not that bad because we do get to see Harden, KD, and Kyrie. But we're all expecting that the Nets are about to sweep the Celtics. I don't think we're expecting them to win a game. At least I'm not. So if the Nets do indeed sweep the Boston Celtics, what's next for them to take the next step to actually be a great team? Because it seems like we have had high expectations for this team for a while, and they haven't met it yet. So what's next for Boston?
I think Danny Ainge has to make some moves. I think you figured out your two guys are Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I think Kemba is not the answer anymore. I think you have to go out and ship him. I think Marcus Smart's time is dwindling. You got a guy in Peyton Pritchard off the bench who I think is pretty solid. You got Aaron Nesmith, who is kind of getting into his own at the end of the season, so he's good. And Brad Stevens, I don't think he should get fired. I think he's still a really great coach. I think he, dealt with the pandemic issues. He dealt with injuries to his team a lot this year, so I think that's something that has to be figured out. But I think this team is definitely still well on their way to having a great future with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. They just need to fit guys around him. I think having a true point guard there to kind of like Paul George and Kawhi with Rondo, put them in sets to score. I think their schemes, they're kind of too ISO heavy, so it's easy to double team Jason Tatum because he's kind of a one-dimensional player at the moment. I think getting a point guard to get him in sets, get him off the ball, I think that'd be great. Getting a real big man, I think Robert Williams is good, but he's kind of like 6'8". He's not, unless he develops his game, gets a mid-range, gets a three-ball, I think he can be the center for them. But I think getting a big there that can do all that at this very moment is key. And they have assets. They still have draft capital. They have players they can move. I think this team has a bright future. Danny Ainge just has to pull the trigger. He hasn't been pulling the trigger lately. He's been letting guys walk. I think at one point he was able to get Anthony Davis, and he didn't do it. So I think right now he has to make moves, and I think he'll do it.
I mean, personally for me, I think you talk about the Anthony Davis thing. Anthony Davis never wanted to go to Boston because of how they did Isaiah Thomas. Mm-hmm. And for me personally, I'm not that high on Brad Stevens as a coach. I mean, we've seen that he can take underwhelming talent and take them to the playoffs, but whenever he's had exceptional talent, he has underachieved outside of that 1 year with Kyrie when Tatum, Brown, Rozier went to the Eastern Conference Finals. But since then, Brad Stevens really hasn't lived up to the potential of anything, and I'm not really sure what the Celtics do. I feel like they're kind of stuck in a situation because is having a true point guard really going to fix their problems? Is having a center really going to fix their problems? For me, I think a couple things stand out. One, their bench is not good. They don't have anybody off the bench that can score and light it up and really, help them off the bench. Two is I think Brad Stevens just doesn't motivate these guys enough to play hard every single night. And three, I think it's been their problem for the last couple of years. It's that they just don't have any intimidating presence down low inside to either block shots or get a basket on the other side of the ball. So for me, there are a lot of problems with the Celtics, and I'm not sure how they really fix it because it just seems like one giant mess right now.
I kind of agree with both of you in the sense that I do feel like Boston should move on from Kemba Walker. Boston has done something that like a lot of teams can't say they've done. They've got a superstar to make it in Jason Tatum if he continues to develop. They got a player like Jaylen Brown. So those are good problems to have. I do agree with Riv that Kemba Walker's more of a score first type of point guard, and his game doesn't rub off on theirs the same way. So I do think that Danny Ainge should try to flip Kemba Walker if he can. But I also do agree with you into the fact that Brad Stevens, you know, he has underperformed a lot, but then again he has gone to the ECF a lot. So I think if Danny Ainge makes the correct moves and gets a playmaking point guard, gets another solid center, and he still underperforms, then I think that's when you pull the trigger. But I think you need to give Brad Stevens the benefit of the doubt to have a good team with a playmaking point guard that's going to support and help Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. So I more so agree with River in the fact that they need to get a playmaking point guard, because I just don't think Kemba Walker fits them, and he's been underperforming in the playoffs, and this year was just a really down year for him as well. So
do you really think Tatum and Brown can coexist and be the two best players on a team that goes very far, or at least win a championship?
I think
or get to
they have gone to the ECF together.
It's not even
a couple times.
It's twice. Like I don't like you guys.
That was a weak East.
You guys keep saying,
and they went to six.
You guys keep saying Brad Stevens underachieves. I don't really see that. You know, he's
gone how many times? 2-3 times, right?
I think 3.
He's underachieved with talent.
How though?
With talent, he has.
When?
I mean, this year is one of the
first
years.
year he made the playoffs with Terry Rozier when Kyrie got hurt. I think he overachieved.
Nobody
in the next
that.
year, I don't even think the next year you can blame him. Kyrie didn't show up
versus Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So is that just on Kyrie, or is that on the scheme and other stuff?
I think that was everything in total, but you can't necessarily just say I think the team in general underachieved that year, but then the year after that, they go to the ECF.
Again, they lose to Miami, and it was a hard-fought series. But
which I think in that series, they like you said, they didn't have any intimidating presence down low, which Bam had his way offensively and defensively down low.
I do think he got out-coached by Eric Spoelstra in that series, though.
Yeah, that's a championship
definitely got
coach,
out-coached, you know?
But I don't think...
Well, that's what Brad Stevens has to be.
I agree, and I think Jason. Well, I know for Jason Tatum and Brown, they like Brad Stevens as a coach. So I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. I think when your two guys like a coach, he's gonna stay. Them coexisting, I think I think the NBA now is a wing dominant league, and I think those two, the way they play, they kind of like can coexist. They've been playing with each other for a long time. They went deep into the playoffs for a long time. Jaylen Brown's getting better.
Jaylen Brown just had a career year this year.
Jason Tatum, he's getting better. I think both of them are very cool. I think they can definitely coexist with the way their game play. I think it just comes down to getting a point guard.
I don't think you trade either one of them. I think you have to give this a couple more years and surround it with a playmaking guard before you make a decision like that. Because we were talking about Philly last year, like, getting rid of Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid. And I'm not saying they're going to win a championship or any of that, but they're the number 1 seed, and they're looking to have a good path to the ECF right now just because the way the seeding is. So
that's also with a new coach and a new scheme, though. So are you saying get a new coach?
That's what I'm saying, though. I agree.
Well, Brett Brown was a horrible coach, though.
It is a wing-dominant league. But in the past 10 years, what team has won a championship with 2 great wing players?
Lakers.
Who?
AD's kind of like a wing.
AD's a forward.
He's a forward is a wing.
The Lakers. The Lakers last year.
For me, a wing is somebody who plays either shooting guard or small forward. One of those.
Okay, I think of a wing as a guy who plays on the. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, continue.
This is the thing.
So wait, the Warriors. Clay and Katie.
Clay and Katie. Well, that's different because they just had overwhelming talent.
But they had Steph Curry.
That's different. They had overwhelming talent. What I'm saying is that.
Okay, so
I feel like with who?
D-Wade and LeBron.
There's a little bit of difference. There's a little bit of difference. This is what I'm saying. Okay. I think that to go far in the playoffs or to even win a championship, you have to have players that complement each other. You look at the Lakers, AD and LeBron, their games complement each other. LeBron complements AD a lot. You look at even those Rockets teams with Chris Paul and Harden, they complemented each other. With Capella, he was a big compliment to them as well. There's a lot of teams that we can bring up, even Golden State. Draymond complimented Steph and Clay. I just don't see what Tatum does that complements Jaylen Brown, and I don't see what Jaylen Brown does that complements Tatum. Because to me, it feels like both of them are scorers that are like Jaylen Brown's more of a slashing scorer, while Tatum is more of a finesse scorer. And I don't know how that complements one another because neither of them are playmakers.
That's why I feel like they need a point guard that could play make for them. They both had career years this year, like in terms of their points per game, their rebounds per game. Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, given the fact that they were young, they weren't doing this with Kyrie. when Kyrie was on the team with Kemba Walker, they both stepped up. So I don't know. I think it's too early to get rid of them because I think that duo was really good. I think they're like a piece or two away in a couple years away from really competing. I don't think you blow that up.
I think that you look at how Phoenix has built their team with Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton. I think that's like the perfect way to build a team when you have a point guard who complements a shooting guard but also complements a center. Like, I think they really fit, and then you surround them with pieces. For me, honestly, I mean, I've been saying this since, like, the beginning of the season. If I were the Celtics, I would have traded Jaylen Brown for James Harden. Obviously, they did not do that. But I would have had James Harden, Tatum, and then I would have figured it out.
That would have been fire, though.
And I would have figured it out. Why? Wait, do you think there's a problem trading James Harden for Jaylen Brown?
With you bringing up Harden in every discussion we have.
No, but he was the person that was up for trade. He was the person that was up for trade.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say this. When you have two wings that can defend at a high level, that can score at a high level, I think you got to give it some time. I think those two guys, and with the league being what it is now, you got two guys that can defend, score in ISO. Jaylen Brown he's a slasher. Jason Tatum is more of the shooter, but that's where they complement each other. Where Jaylen Brown can't do, Tatum can. Where Tatum can't do, Brown can. So I think that's where they kind of both of them can't play make, but that's where you get a point guard in there to be that guy. You get a
both
big.
Also have to have the ball.
I don't think Jaylen Brown has to have the ball that much.
How much did Jaylen Brown average this year? 25, right? I think 24.8. Jason Tatum 27.
Yeah, I don't think Brown needs the ball as much as Tatum in an ISO situation. I think Tatum is more of a half court.
Jason
get the
Tatum's
ball.
No, I agree. He doesn't need it as much as Tatum, but he does need the ball.
So you think Brown should get traded?
I don't.
It depends on who you're going to get.
So you think Brown should get traded?
Okay, so
you're going to get somebody big right now.
So you were saying if they had gotten James Harden, like a trade offer for James Harden, that's when you pull the plug. I agree with you.
It was another guy. Let's see if they could get Dame. I would do it.
I like that.
Jaylen Brown for Dame. I would do it.
I like that. Yeah.
That's just Brooklyn, but Brooklyn's better.
Yeah, but right now we're trying to make the Celtics better.
But realistically,
we have to talk about the big man too. I mean, do you think Robert Williams is that guy?
I mean, okay, so you
not necessarily, but I don't think he's bad either.
I don't think he's bad at all. I think he's good.
I think he's really good.
Offensively, no, but defensively,
you once said he was a role player.
Robert Williams?
Yes.
I I made a whole film analysis on Robert Williams.
But before that, you once said he was a role player.
He was a role player before.
He
wasn't a role player.
No, you said like he was just going to be a role player.
Oh no, he is a role player. He's technically just a role player.
No, he's getting into that conversation of a really good player. No,
a really good
player. But you made it seem like he was just going to be.
If you're not a superstar, if you're not a star, if you're not a bona fide starter, you're a role player.
So, Riv, you think someone like Jared Allen is a role player? Like, do you think that Robert Williams could be like
a role player?
No,
a role player. No.
Jared what was PJ Tucker in Houston?
So you're saying that Robert Williams could be a good starter, like to a Jared Allen level?
Okay, what was PJ Tucker in Houston?
Oh, he was a role player.
He started, but he was a role player.
Yeah, but I don't think Robert Williams is going to be that.
Just because you start doesn't mean you're not a role player.
Just because you're a role player. But hold on, you're saying he was going to be a role player as if he wasn't going to be that good. That's what you made it seem like.
Yeah, but he's still a role player.
No, but you made it seem like he wasn't going to be that
he's not
good.
He's not going to be a top center.
But now you're talking about you did a whole film analysis when you made it seem like
I like Robert Williams.
So
I think he's good. No, I've always liked Robert. I never not liked Robert Williams. I don't know what you're talking about right now. I really don't know what you're talking about. If I said he was a role player, it's because he is a role player.
So you're saying
that's what he's going to be.
Jaylen Brown for Dame would make them better.
It would make them better.
How much though?
Slightly.
The 7th seed.
They wouldn't.
I would still put the Bucks over them. They would be where I would.
That's because they got Drew. I would trust Drew to lock up Dame.
They would be where I would where I had them before the season started. Honestly,
second round at best.
No, I had them as before the season started. I had them as my third best team. Celtics. They ended up being like 5th. But with Dame, I still would keep him as my third best team. I think if you're trading Jaylen Brown right now, you need a move that solidifies you to be a championship contender. Yeah, I don't think Dame does that.
No player is going to do that for the Celtics.
That's my point. You might as well just build off what you have now, which is two wing guys who can score and defend.
So if you trade him for Jaylen Brown, you still have Kemba on the roster? Like, you get what I'm saying?
You're right. We have to figure out where the Kemba goes.
Where is Kemba going to go? And who wants Kemba?
I'm going to be honest. I think a guy that would fit the Celtics really well are two players that come to mind. These are just off the top of my head. I haven't thought of them. One of them is Monte Morris from Denver.
Okay.
I think him starting there he plays defense. He can space the floor. He can run a team. I think that would be good. Also, Ricky Rubio. I think he's another guy.
How about Lonzo?
Lonzo wouldn't be too bad.
I think Lonzo.
I think Lonzo is much better than.
I think Lonzo would be
Rubio.
perfect for them.
Yeah, he would be good for them too.
And his-
I think they need a point guard who can really get everybody to
every
their
point guard
spots.
you named, they're good playmakers. They can defend.
Yeah,
So
that's what they need right now
That's
because
what they need,
Kemba, he's a liability on defense.
Yeah.
And when all three of them play, Tatum, Brown, and Kemba's not effective as a scorer like that. He averages about like 18 to 19 points per game. I don't even think it's that. I just think that Kemba understands that Jaylen Brown and Tatum are the future.
Yeah.
He understands that Tatum is a better scorer than him, but I don't think Brown is a better scorer than Tatum. Brown is not a better scorer than Kemba. Kemba just takes a back seat because he has to get them to their spots, and he can't really take over like he wants to. But I don't think Brown is a better scorer than Kemba. I think Kemba could go anywhere and average 27 points per game if he's not limited to what he is now, a role.
So like Charlotte Kemba.
Yeah, he would do that.
A game.
I think you put him on Portland and replace him with Dame, he averages around those numbers. 27 points per game. I think he would do that. But he's just limited to a role. He doesn't really fit with the Celtics right now.
Yeah, that's my biggest concern is like the fit with the two, with the guard and small forward. It doesn't work.
I don't know who's gonna take his money or who's gonna trade for Kemba.
This was a very down year for him too.
Chicago would.
Nah, we wouldn't.
Yeah, they probably would.
How old's Kemba?
Probably hitting 30.
28?
He's probably hitting 30.
Yeah.
He's definitely hitting 30.
We don't even have the people.
It wouldn't
to
even be
trade
that
him,
bad.
bro.
It wouldn't even be that bad for you guys to take him. You guys have
I don't
no
even
point
know.
guard.
I don't know who we would. No, we have the same guy as him, just less. He's just not better.
31 years
Kobe
old.
White does the same thing he does. He's just not better than
That's
Kemba.
not true.
He's a scoring guard.
That's
that takes
not
a lot
like
of
Kemba.
shots.
Not
No,
like
I just-
Kemba's definitely better.
What did
Yeah,
I just say? I just said.
No,
But,
like
like,
he's
the
not.
weak-
But they
the-
don't play the same.
No,
though.
but would
No,
your,
but I'm saying
would your
they're like a
team be would
scoring
your
guard.
team be better with Kemba?
No, because we need a playmaking point guard. We don't
But
need a scoring
Kemba
guard.
can play make though.
Nah.
Kobe White can't play make.
No.
He can't.
I
Kobe White
think
can't.
I think you're No, I don't think.
No, I know Kemba's a scoring guard.
No,
but he
I
can
know.
play make.
When I say we need a playmaker, you should know what I mean. We don't need a Kemba playmaker.
So
We
like
need
Alonzo playmaker.
Yeah, we need
Okay.
that type of playmaker, like a Rubio. We don't need.
But even then, I think Kemba on your team. I mean, I'm not saying that you guys would do anything big, but it would definitely be better than what
Oh,
you have. I think you guys can make the playoffs with a churro like
How many points he averages?
this year, 19.
I don't see the Kemba thing. I don't know. I don't see it.
I think it would make
your
you
team
guys
better.
relevant. You guys
It would make you
suck.
guys better. It would make you guys better.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you guys.
but like you wouldn't contend with
No,
it.
I'm gonna
obviously.
just be 100 with you guys. I don't think we'd contend with Kemba.
No, none of us
Yeah,
are saying you'd
I
contend.
don't think we'd make the playoffs. I think we'd be the same team we are.
I'll
right
be
now.
honest. I don't think you make the playoffs with Rubio.
I didn't say we
Lonzo.
would, but I just said that's what we need.
No, I get it, but y'all wouldn't make the playoffs with them. Y'all wouldn't make the playoffs with either of them, though.
Yeah.
I don't know. You really think you wouldn't make the playoffs with Kemba, bro?
I don't think.
Now with Kemba, yeah.
With Kemba,
I
Zach
would- I don't know
LaVine,
with
think-
Lonzo.
I don't know why.
Vucevic, Thaddeus
don't
Young, like your
see-
team, another year, Pat Williams.
We're literally
that
just
team is good, bro.
We're literally just plugging in another guy that
I don't know.
does
I just,
a little bit more than Kobe White. I swear to God, bro. It's not.
And there's a reason Kobe White got benched for Thomas Satoransky, though.
Yeah, because they need a point guard next to.
Kemba would never be benched for
No, but it's
Satoransky.
not.
never
it's-
be
no, he
benched.
wouldn't. But I'm saying they did that because Thomas
He
Satoransky
get
is
benched
more.
by Satoransky, bro.
He's
That's
more of a
crazy.
playmaker. Zach needs a playmaker next.
Yeah,
He doesn't
but
need
then-
another guy to take the ball out of his hands.
But Kemba can play that role. He's not.
He's struggling in Boston to play that role. What are you talking
No,
about?
I don't think he's struggling in Boston
yes, he is.
that mightily to play that role. For one, Kemba's been injured in Boston a lot.
So has Brown.
So is Jaylen
how
Brown?
about his first?
They've all been injured.
What did you guys make of his first year in Boston?
I think it was good. They went to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah,
I think he struggled in the playoffs though.
he did, but I mean,
But my thing is, he
got to
said
the
he
ECF,
said
though.
he said he took a back seat, but last year we can agree Kemba was the number 2 guy. Jaylen Brown just makes this huge leap and then oversteps him, and then becomes the second guy, and then Kemba takes the back seat and becomes that playmaker
But in
role.
Chicago, he'd be the second.
But I'm saying no,
But wait, is the Levine and who?
and
the big guy. What's wrong with you?
Vucevic, okay, but
Vucevic is nice.
that's exactly my point. Vucevic could feed off of what Kemba does.
What
though.
does Kemba do though?
You put them in pick and roll sets, bro?
Oh my God.
Pick
Have
and
you
pop,
watched?
pick and roll.
Have you watched Kemba in Boston in a pick and roll set?
But Vucevic just gives you a bigger threat because he can shoot.
option.
That's what I'm
He can
saying.
shoot and he can-
they run the pick and roll with Tatum, Brown. Like they run it with bigs.
How's your team's defense?
It's not good.
Okay, so Kemba Walker's not gonna fix
Yeah,
that.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
he's too high
I'm just
with
saying. Kemba can take that lesser role and be a impactful playmaker.
But wait, but okay,
I just don't.
okay,
I don't
no,
think it'd be.
hold on.
I agree with both of you. I think
No,
that
you're
it would
saying-
make them better. But
you
I don't
saying
think
he can take that lesser role, yet he's struggling in Boston to take the same role.
I mean, he was
No,
injured
he's
this
taking
year,
the
though.
third role in Boston.
As
He's
a
struggling to
scorer,
take
he's
that.
not gonna. He's gonna be the third scorer in Chicago.
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You're gonna put him in front of Vucevic, a
Yes.
25 point per game scorer who shoots
Kemba,
better from the field than him, and he's a guard.
Kemba is a better scorer than Vucevic. He's not.
I don't.
Vucevic shoots
can
better.
score.
No,
You know what's
Vucevic
funny?
is nice,
Vucevic
but-
can score from all three levels too.
Nah,
Better
Vucevic-
than Kemba.
He can-
Vucevic is nice, but Kemba is a better. I think he's a better scorer than Vucevic.
Yeah,
I'm just telling you the team's direction, gang. That's all I can tell you.
No, but I'm just saying you're making it sound like Kemba can't play a facilitator role at all.
I'm just saying he's struggling in Boston to do that.
But that's not what he's struggling with in Boston. He's struggling in Boston to, one, stay healthy, but two, he has to take a way lesser role. And there are so many people on Boston that need the ball.
Who?
One, you got Tatum, you got Brown, and
Who else?
also when Fournier came, you had to give him the ball
Yeah,
too.
Fournier is kind of like
There's too many added
parts.
parts in Boston that you had to really try to make happy.
I mean, that should help him if he's a playmaker.
Not really.
Yeah, because you have so many people around you. It should open up the game.
But
for
in
you.
Chicago, he can be more of a scoring guard that is a secondary playmaker.
Okay, but that's not what we want. I'm trying to explain that to you. You're not listening.
No, I'm not saying that's not what Chicago wants, but I'm saying he could play that role.
But I'm telling you, we've seen it. Like, he's been in Boston, and we've seen him play all these roles, and he hasn't lived up to the billing. So what makes you think
What's all these roles?
he's been the secondary scorer and then a playmaker? It wasn't that good.
He's been the third best player.
It wasn't that good. Like, we've seen Kemba in
But in
most
that
roles.
secondary role, we've seen him thrive though.
thrive,
I mean, they did
Yes.
go to the ECF.
but he didn't play well throughout that
But
whole
then again,
run.
Boston has I would argue that Boston, his first year there, has a better roster than Chicago. Because like
100%.
Riv is talking about, like he doesn't know if they'd make the playoffs.
Chicago would definitely make the playoffs.
I
with
think
Kemba.
they would. I think they would.
I don't think it would.
I think
I
they
think
would.
we'd probably be in a
Wait,
play-in.
aren't you the same person
I
that
think they'll be good.
every single player that had a great performance in a bubble, you knock it because it's the bubble. But Kemba plays bad in the bubble. You're saying, oh, he played bad in the playoffs. Does that not hold the same?
I mean, he's playing bad right now. So you want me to
playing-
keep talking about that
He's
too?
playing very bad. Right now.
Like, he's playing horrible.
Like very bad.
I mean, without Jalen Brown this season, he's actually averaged like 25 points per game though.
I don't see it.
Nah,
I
Brooklyn
haven't
series.
seen it. I mean,
I think Brooklyn is a
But then
an
again,
elite team.
Jason Tatum's been playing bad too.
but you're saying they're
the whole
elite.
team's been
They're
playing
an
bad.
elite offensive team. I think they're letting Kyrie go one-on-one with Kemba. It's just not working.
Well, we never said Kemba was a defender.
No, I'm talking about Kyrie's guarding Kemba.
Kyrie's not a bad defender though.
Okay, but
He's
I
been really
understand
good
what
this
you're
year.
saying, but we're like you're telling me like Kemba's this, Kemba's that, and we're watching Kemba. He's
Okay.
playing horrible.
Can't go toe to toe.
I'm not telling you
never thought he was
Kemba's this
better.
and Kemba's that. I'm saying that Kemba in Chicago would make the playoffs with the Bulls.
I don't think so.
I mean,
With
just,
your given roster.
but you have a good team. You just need a point guard.
Yeah, no, but you have to remember what we also have to give up for Kemba.
I mean, Laurie Marketing
Well, we
doesn't wanna
aren't
be
we
there.
aren't we aren't really thinking
Laurie
that
Marketing
far.
doesn't want to be there, and I
Yeah, but
think
he's
you guys
like-
don't want him either.
He has like $8 million.
You have to throw.
We aren't
somebody else in there.
thinking that far though. We're just talking about what he'd do. I'm not talking about trade packages.
Yeah, I don't.
Oh, I don't
mean,
think he'd do what you think he'd do. That's all. I
make
disagree.
the playoffs.
I don't think we'd make the playoffs.
Really?
I think y'all
Just-
would.
I'm not saying win a series, just make the playoffs.
Well, we were an 11th seed.
Now you add Kemba, you don't think you'd be better than that?
We'll be in the play-on maybe. I mean, Indiana was hurt all year. Like that's
So in the comments down below, comment whether you think
That's
if Kemba was on
don't
Chicago, you just put him in Chicago, would the Bulls make the playoffs? And now we're going to move on to a different segment. So we want to hear you guys. What do you guys think? Would the Bulls make the playoffs if Kemba Walker is on the Bulls? So now we're about to talk about a team that is in the playoffs and they're about to get knocked out. Maybe it's the Los Angeles Clippers. It's a team that Riv had so much faith in all season.
he
And
did.
no. I'm saying he did too. What's wrong with him?
Oh,
I didn't have
know
faith
that.
in them all season. I started to
Faith
come
in
along
what
later.
way? That they go to the Western Conference Finals?
Yeah,
I mean, they should.
yeah. I think both of us said they're going to the WCF.
They can't lose in the first round.
So let's
That's bad.
go on with the topic.
Go.
What's wrong with the Clippers right now? Why are they underachieving? Why are they not playing well? What's wrong with them? Why are they down 0-2 to the Mavericks?
It's a lot of things. Watching these two games, they're switching defense. It's pretty bad. allowing Luka Doncic to dominate matchups like Zubac, Morris, and Pat Bev. It's been destroying them. And Ty Lue making switches and making adjustments late in the game, so now they have to crawl back. That's been pretty bad. The secondary help hasn't showed up. You see guys like Tim Hardaway Jr., Maxi Kleber. Those guys have good games. Jalen Brunson and guys like Marcus Morris, Zubac, Pat Bev, Batum, Ibaka. I don't know why he's not getting enough minutes. I think he should be playing right now in this series, but they haven't shown up, So I think those two are definitely the main problems. And if you watch the games, like Dallas, I think, in my opinion, is playing their best basketball at the moment. And I don't think the Clippers are shooting the ball all too well as they should be. They shot at a high clip in the regular season. In the playoffs, they haven't been shooting well, and they've still been in winnable games. So I think that definitely plays into the fact that they haven't been playing good, and they can still win these two games at the same time. So Ty Lue has to make adjustments. The team has to step up. I know like Luka's putting up numbers, but like I said, I think Kawhi and Luka are matching each other. It's the other guys, they have to step up. Kawhi had 40 last game, and the other guys didn't step up. You have to, as a team, you have to come together. Luka's got, even in the fourth, 2 games in a row, you've seen Luka off, like, scoring. He got neutralized a little bit. He was still making the plays. His guys were just hitting the shots. Yeah. The Clippers weren't hitting shots, and they should be hitting shots. So I think that walking into Dallas, it's going to be tough. We've seen Kawhi win 4 straight against a better team, with a better team also, too. So it's not, I wouldn't say the series is over, but it's not looking too good at the moment. 2 games in Dallas is going to be a dogfight. It's going to be tough for them to get it, but they got to make adjustments.
This is what's wrong with the Clippers. And you're right, Kawhi has been down 0-2, but he was down 0-2 away. He didn't lose his first 2 games at home in Toronto. He lost at Milwaukee. That's a big difference. We'll talk about this first. You were absolutely right. Tyronn Lue, he's a horrible coach. I don't think he's a good coach. I think right now it's showing that he was a product of LeBron James, as a lot of guys are, as it comes to light sooner rather than later. Their switching defense has been horrible. They have no sense of urgency. They lack communication. And Zubac should not be playing in this series. He is unplayable because they are hunting him down every possession. Jalen Brunson, it doesn't matter who Zubac is on. They are getting him in those pick and roll situations and forcing a switch and just attacking him. And I don't think he's playable in this series. I would not play him. For me, I would go small against the Mavericks. And also, Serge Ibaka played 6 minutes in Game 2. I think that's just unacceptable. Yeah,
he played 15 in Game 1.
That is your marquee free agent acquisition. And in the minutes he played in Game 2, he switched on to Luka and he kept up with them. Luka made the shot because he's that great, but he contested it well. For me, I think their best lineup is Rondo, Kawhi, PG, Morris, and Batum. That's the lineup I'd go with. I'd play small, and I'd play like that. The series is not over whatsoever because I think if they do make these adjustments, they can win 1 in Dallas, maybe 2. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure because it's just tough. Once you lose 2 games straight at home, to win 2 games on the road in Dallas is going to be tough. And you talked about Kawhi matching Luka. Scoring, yes. But their impact, I don't think so. Because Luka is not only scoring the same amount as Kawhi, but he's also passing and assisting. Yeah, like I think Luka's impact on this series has been, he has his footprint all over the series. But most of the time people talk about the Clippers, they often talk about their collapse, but they don't talk about the other team. The Mavericks have been playing phenomenal. They were the 18th ranked 3-point shooting team coming into the series. They are shooting 50% from the 3. Luka has been amazing. Tim Hardaway Jr., everybody on the Mavs has been amazing. Porzingis in Game 2 had that late 3 that bounced all the way up and came back down. That was just a prayer answered from the basketball gods. So they have been really on fire. Is that going to slow down? If it does slow down and they do come back to earth, maybe the Clippers can crawl back into this series. But I just think I can't believe I didn't see this coming. Because in the regular season, the Mavericks dominated the Clippers. I can't believe I didn't see this coming. And before the season, I know a lot of people thought I was crazy when I said it. When I said Luka was better than Kawhi, I said he was better than KD. And everybody didn't think I was, everybody thought I was crazy. Maybe you still think I am crazy, but I'm going to say this. I think Luka Doncic right now is the best player in the world. I do. The only person I'd consider taking over Luka is LeBron James. But that's the only guy. And even if you put Luka on the Lakers would still be championship contenders. Luka right now is the best player in the world. He's playing like it. And I don't want to hear anybody say, oh, but Luka doesn't have the accolades, the MVPs, the finals. Before LeBron won his first finals, we knew he was the best player in the world.
He had an MVP. But keep going.
But before he won his first finals, we knew he was the best player in the world.
Okay.
Right now, if you watch Luka day in and day out, you watch the games, you watch his impact on offense as a passer. Not only that, but there's this narrative that he's not a good defender, but he is a good defender. You watch his impact all around. I think he is the best player in the world. And this is the series that he proves it, because if the Mavericks beat the Clippers in this first round, they are going to the Western Conference Finals. And it's going to be Luka versus LeBron in the WCF, and then we'll see what happens.
So who do you had to be the best player in the world last week?
Who did I have? I forgot.
I think it was Harden.
Yeah, that's close. He's up there too.
What about last month?
No, I didn't say Harden
actually,
was the best player in the world last week. I didn't say it.
It was LeBron.
Yeah, I mean,
last month it was Harden.
I've said LeBron was. I mean, I always thought LeBron was the best, honestly.
I thought you said last month Harden was the best.
I mean, Harden's the best player on the Nets. I've said that.
No, you said Harden was the best player in the world.
Harden missed like a month. So it had to be 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was that month he was going.
Harden wasn't playing like the best player in the world at that time.
No,
yes,
I'm
he was.
just asking what you said.
MVP.
When before his injury, yes, he was playing like the best in the
So
world.
you said about 4 or 5 people were the best in the world. Because you tweeted Steph Curry is the best player in the world too.
Yeah, it's very close.
It's
close.
So
This is the thing.
You're in the moment guy.
No, this is the thing.
I had to just get that out the way.
This is the problem with this is the problem with your argument.
I'm not arguing anything.
No, this is the problem with your statement. The problem with your statement is that you seem to think there's a gap between these top players.
No,
there's not a gap. You know, if Luke is better than Harden, it's by this much. If Luke is better than Steph, it's by this much.
So your statement more is like any given night, either one of those players could be the best player in the world.
Yes, and right now to this point, Luka has Luka.
I was just asking
the way Luka is playing, he is there's no other player in basketball that I would take over Luka. The way he is playing, crazy. I would not take anyone over Luka.
That's crazy.
The only person I'll take is LeBron. That's the only guy.
How about Kevin Durant?
No.
You want to take KD?
No.
I mean, you've been saying like Luka was better than KD for a minute though, so I give you that. I'm saying that.
No, but then I asked him a couple months ago.
Bro, he's weird,
and,
bro.
And he said no. He said Kevin Durant was better.
Yeah,
as a scorer.
He told.
I think
me
Luka impacts the game more.
He said on this channel, Luka's better than Kevin Durant. He said that. I was just.
I remember that.
Yeah, I'm not making a statement. I was just asking you just to make sure you keep up with what you're saying.
The gap is not that the gap is not that far. And Luka right now, I would not take anybody over Luka the way he's playing.
That's dope.
There is no weakness in his game. There's none. On offense, what's his weakness? He can handle. He can pass. He can now shoot the three. He can shoot off the dribble. He has a great floater. He can drive to the basket. He can draw fouls. There's no weakness in his game.
Great player. Phenomenal player.
I think he's the best.
I feel you. I just asked you questions. That's all. Just asked you questions.
So I mean, you guys said a lot of the things that I was going to say about this series. But I agree with Riv. The main reason I think the Clippers are losing is because their role players are playing really bad. I mean, Marcus Morris had like 8 points last game. He was like a minus 18.
Bro had 2 the first game.
Then you had Zubac, who, like you said, they've been attacking this whole series. Like he looks unplayable in this series. And then the coaching decisions that Tyronn Lue has made. I mean, you get Rajon Rondo. This is the guy that I've heard Clippers fans, I've heard many people preach that he would help them out. Yet you play him 15 minutes last game. And in those 15 minutes, he looked like he did more than Patrick Beverley has done the entire series on the floor. Patrick Beverley's been getting killed by Luka. So a lot of it has to do with the role players, but I'll put most of the blame on Tyronn Lue because his lineups, his rotations have been awful. So I agree with that lineup that it needs to be Rondo, PG, Kawhi, Batum. I think you need those guys out there to be more competitive in this series. Can they come back? It depends. If Tim Hardaway Jr. and Maxi Kleber are hitting their threes and Luka Doncic is killing, then I think this series is completely over if they're keeping in their shots like that. Like, there's nothing that you could do. You've already dug yourself into a 2-0 hold. You lost both the games at home, so it's going to be very tough. If they come back to earth and they make those adjustments and the Clippers, we get better play out of the role players, then yes, this can be a series. But the majority of this series and the blame I put on Tyronn Lue. And if the Clippers lose this first round, Kawhi's definitely leaving, and they're going to be one of the worst franchises in basketball for a very, very long time. So the Clippers franchise as a whole, they need to step up, because if this happens, I don't see a world in which Kawhi Leonard's going to stay here.
Yeah, I agree. I think
I just don't see it happening.
I agree with a lot of things, Joel. So I think that 5-man rotation was that's the lineup.
Best.
That's the lineup that digs him out of a hole in the fourth quarter.
Serge. I forgot to mention
that's the
Serge
lineup
too.
that
Serge
gets him in.
I'm not a gatekeeper of what I say. I say stuff all the time, but I will say this. You said I tweeted something. I'm going through my tweets right now. I did not tweet anything about Curry being the best player in the world.
You delete tweets. You gotta stop.
You
gotta
stop.
I
said this.
I do remember that.
He told me. No. I said this.
I showed you it, right?
I said this. I said Steph Curry is the greatest scorer of all time. That's what I said. I think he's the greatest scorer.
JC, just go in the catalog.
I never said Steph was the best in the world. Never.
You're a man of deleting tweets.
The only person that I've said, the only thing that I've said about Steph this whole season was that I don't know why people are thinking this season is so much more special than James Harden's season that he had in 2019. That's what I've been saying about this season. If anything,
he deleted it.
I didn't delete it. I just never tweeted it. Y'all talking about I deleted it. I never tweeted that.
No, because it was funny because like
you're the man of deleted tweets.
I remember,
JC doesn't lie, bro. JC literally texted me and said, "Yo, why Joel just said Steph is the best player in the world?"
I didn't tweet.
And then when he lost in the play, and like you said that.
Yeah, and then you said, yeah, exactly. Yo, you gotta stop, bro.
Like, no, I never said that. I know I never said that.
You said tonight was the biggest game of the season for Steph Curry. He committed 7 turnovers. Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson weren't there to bail him out tonight. And in Steph Curry's first year with a subpar roster, he was unable to lead his team to the playoffs. James Harden is so much better.
He is.
I'm 95% sure that you did at one point tweet
I never
that Steph
said that.
Curry was the best player in the world.
No, I said he's the greatest scorer of all time, and I stand by that.
But then on this pod, you said, wait, stop.
You think he's the greatest scorer of all time,
JC, stop,
I think he has the debate for it.
JC,
he really does.
JC, stop, because on this same podcast, he said James Harden was the greatest scorer of all time. And then he said Michael Jordan. And then he said Kobe.
Jordan.
Yeah, no, that's what he said.
Not.
He never said Steph Curry. He never, ever brought up Steph Curry's name.
I went back and I watched the film and I watched how much Curry impacts the game off the ball.
Then goes watch his film and then reverses the take. You see that?
I can't wait. Hold up. I can't.
You can switch it. You can always switch your opinion.
I can't switch what I say based on what I watch.
Why can't you watch tape first, then make a tape?
No, I watched the tape, but I think what Steph Curry proved this year that he belongs in that category with the best scorers of all time.
But I always had. But I know that before.
But I also tweeted this. April 24th, I tweeted this. Curry is getting all the praise on the Warriors right now, but let's not forget about Draymond. So I have not just been on Steph Curry's jock this entire season. I've been praising Draymond Green just as much. And I've never said Steph Curry was the best in the world. I would never say that. I never said that. I would never even dare to put him over LeBron or Harden. I've never once in my life said Steph was better than Harden. Not once. Not once.
No, your credibility is terrible.
Or did you say Steph Curry's playing like the best player in the world?
I never said that either. But at one point in the season, at one point in time, I'm not saying he wasn't, because he definitely had a
there's so many screenshots of him deleting tweets. Like, he's bad, bro.
How can you screenshot somebody deleting tweets?
No, I'm saying there's screenshots of your tweets, and then we go look at them, go find them, and then you've deleted them. They're gone.
I mean,
you gotta stop. Bro. You gotta stop, bro.
When you have a Twitter and you tweet a lot, and you don't get suspended on Twitter like you, and you don't delete your Twitter, then you could look back at my track record, but they can't look back at yours because you don't got none, you know?
I mean, I stand on everything I say.
Nah, you don't.
I don't flip what I say. Everybody knows that. I stand on everything I say.
Nah, you don't.
I don't tell a take and then flip it. I stand on what I say.
No, you don't. Nobody can check back on you. Nobody can check it. So
I mean, we're all in agreement that if they lose in the first round, Kawhi is leaving, though, right? Like 100%, right? He's leaving.
I don't see why he's
not. Yeah, he's going to go to the Knicks if he leaves.
Okay, that's another discussion for
another
day. But
he's gonna join Julius Randle and them boys. But yeah, I think I think
he leaves.
I think we're gonna talk about that topic another day about the Clippers and how they're gonna look if Kawhi leaves, because they are going to look like one of the worst teams in the NBA. That deserves its own topic.
That'll be one of the worst trades of all time.
They better knock it up. Yeah. Like I said, my take still stands. Clippers in 6.
Clippers in 6. The Mavericks are winning this in 6 or 5, one of those.
Clippers in 6. He switched his take. You see that? I stand on what I said.
Yeah, I switched my take. I picked the Clippers to win the series at first in 6, but Based off the first two games, I would not pick the Clippers.
I want you when you
no.
switch your take. I just don't want you to go back and say I was right the whole time because you weren't.
With what?
You switched midway. Don't go back talk about I'm right the whole time. We don't want to hear that. Yeah, we don't want to hear that.
Well, it depends. If the Clippers play up to the potential that I thought they were going to play up to,
But
to
you
begin the
switched.
series.
But you switched.
Then yeah. No, I mean, based off right now, the Mavericks should win the series. They're up 2-0.
No, but you just said Mavs. You just said Mavs in 6.
Yeah, no, I'm taking the Mavs in 6.
Okay,
I think they will finish off this series because I think they'll win one at home. I think the Clippers will win one game at Dallas. So if it's 3-1, I don't think Luka is losing 3 straight games.
Yeah,
I'm sure we all.
I don't think so.
I'm sure we all thought Chris Paul wouldn't do that. Kawhi
I
wouldn't
thought
do
the
that.
Clippers weren't going to do that.
I'm sure we all thought a lot of guys wouldn't lose 3 straight.
Yeah, but that's Luka. That's different.
Or Kevin Durant.
Yeah, I'm sure we thought Kevin Durant, Steph. I'm sure we thought a
the
lot of
Warriors in
guys.
the finals.
Yeah, I'm sure we thought a lot of guys wouldn't.
Yeah,
do
I'm
that.
not talking about what you thought. I'm talking about what I think.
No,
You know?
okay,
And I think
but
Luka's not going to do it.
The world's seen it. You said Mavs are going to finish off in 6. Don't come back next week if they win talking about I was right all along. No, you said it today. May 27th, you said the Mavs are going to finish it off.
Yeah, I think so. I say they're going to finish. I think they will finish it off, but I will also say this. The series is not over.
You did say that.
It's not over. And the Clippers, if they make the right adjustments, if Tyronn Lue does start to coach well, there is a possibility that they can come back. But I would just bank on the Mavericks winning based off what I see. I think right now they're just hot. They're just hot right now, and it's hard to slow down a team like that.
I agree. And they're going home.
Yeah, you know who else might go home soon? The Miami Heat, because they're down 0-2 to the Milwaukee Bucks right now. And I told you this before the series. You know, there's something that I was very right about. Like I said, I'm right about 99% of the things I say. You know,
you said it was going 7, right?
No, I never said that.
I said 5.
Wait, you didn't say this series was going 7?
I said 6.
I
said
think he
6.
said 6.
I could have sworn you said 7 on that. I watched one episode.
I said it could
one
go
of you
7.
said 7.
I said 5.
Oh,
I said it
6.
could go 7, but this is what I'm saying right now.
Okay.
I told you this. The Bucks beat the Heat late in the season because they wanted to face the Heat. Unlike those cowards in the Clippers where they wanted to tank and not face the Lakers, they avoided the Lakers. And now they're stuck with Luka, and Luka is kicking their butts right now. Milwaukee said we don't care about the Heat. In the bubble, they were the bubble guppies. We don't think they're going to be that good. So the Bucks right now in this series, they're averaging 120 points per game to the Heat's 102. Game 2 inflated that a lot because Game 2 was a complete blowout. But Game 1, obviously, a much closer game. People talk about Jimmy and Bam playing bad, but Milwaukee didn't shoot well from 3 either. Game 2, Bryn Forbes, Pat Connaughton, Bobby Portis, they went crazy, specifically Bryn Forbes. He had stretches where he was the best guy on the court. Like, he just couldn't miss. So, yeah, based on these 2 games, obviously the popular thing to say is that Milwaukee has it in they have it done. They have the series locked. But we've seen Milwaukee be up 2-0 and blow leads. Even though this is not the same team, I think Jrue Holiday makes a huge difference. I think Bryn Forbes was one of probably the second most important acquisition in the offseason because he can stretch the floor. Bobby Portis off the bench.
Great.
But I think the most important guy is PJ Tucker. I think he's brought some toughness to the Milwaukee Bucks this year that they weren't going to have. And I think because he was on the Heat, he's been guarding Jimmy Butler. He's been on
doing
him
very well.
And I think because PJ Tucker is on the Heat, on the Bucks right now, Jimmy Butler's not playing well because he knows he has to look across PJ Tucker and he has to, score on him. And I think that's one of the hardest tasks for anybody to do. Even Kevin Durant struggles with it.
Kevin Durant gave him 40.
I think PJ
He
Tucker
doesn't struggle. He just makes it tougher. But
PJ Tucker, I think, has been the X factor in here. And I think if they face the Nets and move on, he'll be the X factor in that series as well.
I think you're wrong, but I don't think you're like off the wall wrong. I just think you're wrong, and your love for PJ Tucker is sick and freaking. You got to stop. You got to stop. I think Giannis has been the X factor, and I think more because of Giannis' defense. I think walking into the game, taking that challenge early, guarding Jimmy Butler, putting the clamps on Jimmy Butler. I think that. Like walking in with that mentality, he hasn't walked in series with that mentality.
Last year he didn't want it.
The year before he didn't really walk in with that. When they played Toronto, he really didn't walk in guarding Kawhi from the start. Yeah. I think him doing that, guarding Jimmy, setting the tone game 1 and 2. Like PJ Tucker has been on him. I think rotating Giannis, Jrue Holiday, PJ Tucker on Jimmy has put really a strain on him offensively, and he's not able to get it going. His team is not hitting, so it's not looking good for for the Heat, I think Brook Lopez also has been really well. Defensively, he's been. I think the Bucks' defense has just been impressive.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, it's just been impressive.
It's crazy.
This team has been dominant. I think, like I said, I picked the Bucks in 5, but I think Giannis was my X factor just because of the fact that he's obviously, even when he was talking about it, people kept saying he didn't feel confident in the series the way he was speaking. But walking on that court, he looks very confident. His jump shot, he looks confident and he looks ready to go. Defensively, he looks like he's prepared for the Brooklyn Nets, and I think that's going to be a fun series. Like I said, I got Bucks in 5, though. I think Miami's going to split both of them at home. I don't think Miami loses 2 straight in Miami. If they do, it's going to be close games. Yeah. And I think Milwaukee, Game 5 at home, I think they finish it up.
I agree with you guys in the sense that obviously the Bucks are going to win this series. I said Bucks in 6. For some reason, I think Miami's going to come out with a better performance at home. I think it's not out of the realm that they can take 2 games at home.
They could.
But, I still think Bucks in 6. I mean, the player Jimmy Butler, like you guys have alluded to, he's just been a shell of himself from last year. And I'm not going to say that. I'm not just going to sit here and say that he's been playing bad. I'm going to give credit to the Milwaukee Bucks defense. They have a lot of players, a lot of people that can guard him. Like River said, you got Giannis on him, great defender. PJ Tucker's no slouch on defense. And you got a guard like Drew Holiday. DiVincenzo, even when he's been guarding him, it's tough. Like, this is a great defensive team. And then you got a rim protector in Brook Lopez. If Miami wants to come back in this series, one thing that I noticed when I was watching the game and towards the box score, towards the end, is that they're completely getting out-rebounded very bad. Like, they've been down on the glass, like, by 20 boards. And if you're going to win the game in the playoffs, you have to rebound the ball. You can't be minus 20 in terms of rebounding. And Bam Adebayo also has to play better, too. He's actually hasn't been as aggressive as he was last year in the bubble. Could have been because the bubble he was playing good, but, he hasn't been as aggressive. And then Jimmy Butler's, the defense they played on Jimmy Butler, they've kind of neutralized him. So what Miami needs to do is they need to rebound the ball better, and they need to hit more of their shots, because I know in Game 2 they were atrocious from the 3-ball. The bench is playing bad. So I would chalk it up and say it was just a bad game, but I think Miami takes at least 1 or 2 at home and makes this a 5 to 6 game series. I just don't see how they can get swept. But it's not out of the realm that they could get swept. But like I said, I'm going to stick to my prediction. I said Bucks in 6. These 2 games are going to determine, how close or how far over this series is going to end. So we'll see.
I mean, Butler right now is averaging 13.5 points per game, shooting 25% from the field, 22% from 3, so around his normal 3-point percentage, and 64% from the free throw line. And he has a plus-minus of minus 42. Which is the worst on the team. And I'll say this. You mentioned Giannis on defense and stuff like that, and now he's taking the challenge, and that's been a difference. I don't think that's the biggest difference in Giannis. I think right now the biggest difference is that he's playing off the ball more. I think last year in their series, he played more on the ball. They try to use him as a primary ball handler. They played him at the top of the key. And when you do that, it's very easy to load up and build that wall on him. But right now they're using him much more as a roller in pick-and-roll situations, and he's playing off the ball. He's in that dunker spot. He's, roaming around the baseline. Mm-hmm. I think that just goes to show that Mike Budenholzer noticed something. He is switching up the game plan, which is a very good sign for Bucks fans moving forward, because you need Mike Budenholzer to be fast in his adjustments. It did take him about 2 years to notice that. But still, I think now it's a good sign that they're going to Giannis and playing him more off the ball, because he's not a primary ball handler. He just doesn't have that passing in his game.
Well, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but they've been kind of playing like that all year. And that's with the Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton. We forgot to mention Chris Middleton has been balling too. Yeah. But that's I think with Drew Holiday, him being just so much and far and away better player than Eric Bledsoe, and having that ability to be a playmaker and to be a scorer. Chris Middleton has also upped up his playmaking, so putting him in the pick and roll with Giannis has been pretty dope to see. DiVincenzo, he does it sometimes too, so that's good for the game. I think, but I agree with you. I think that's been a good step in his game and him evolving as a basketball player. Kind of being more comfortable being that big man, go down low, running that pick and roll. And I don't know what Miami is gonna do. Jimmy Butler has just been in the crunch. Goran Dragic has been playing okay, but Tyler Herro hasn't been performing. Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo, like this team just does
outmatched.
Yeah, they just look outmatched, and I do. And I've been saying that the Bucks look like a different team than what they've been looking like over the past 2 years. And I think Mike Budenholzer, got him on fire, clicking. I think these acquisitions has been really good.
Because I heard Mike Budenholzer lost his series. He was going to get fired most likely. So
yeah, probably.
No, yeah, 100%.
So, we'll see. I mean, this series looks just about done, but I'm not going to run away from the fact that I think it's still going to be Bucks and 6.
Now, this series ain't over.
You didn't burst my bubble because we're talking about strictly versus the Heat or versus playoff opponents. And this is the first time in the playoffs they have played Giannis like that. So I think it is a different variation from what they've done in the playoffs previously.
Word.
So you didn't burst my bubble. Your needle wasn't sharp enough that time.
Well, I mean, they've been playing like that for a majority of the year, so I thought you would notice it, being a film guy and all.
Well, noticing it now, yeah, because it's the playoffs. It's the brightest of the lights.
Yeah, well,
I think the change right now is that I said this last year too, that Giannis is Shaq. He's a modern day Shaq, and they were trying to play him like a LeBron, and I don't think that was ever him. He was always a guy who is going to thrive playing like a big man, not playing like a perimeter player.
I think he's a big
he is a big man. Yeah, that's exactly what he is.
I think, them trying to make him like one of the wings, like a LeBron, like Kawhi, like a KD. I don't think he's that mainly on the perimeter. I think he's a guy who needs to be down low, and that's where he's most effective.
So I remember you picked the Suns in 5, right?
You're capping. You got to stop.
You picked the Suns in 7, right?
No, I picked the Lakers in 7. I see what you tried to do there.
I'm playing. Okay. Yeah, we all thought the Lakers were going to win. Obviously, after game 1, everybody overreacted and thought that Phoenix might have taken it.
I don't think they overreacted.
Not me, not you. I'm guessing not you. But I know that a lot of people thought that Phoenix would have gave them a better run for their money. Obviously, Chris Paul got hurt, and now it's probably one of the saddest storylines of the playoffs right now.
Is he out for game 3?
I don't know if he's out, but it's not the same.
He doesn't look the same.
And they still fought in game 2.
They need Chris Paul, bro. They can't take.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think game 1 was mostly a feel-out game, like it always is for LeBron and Lakers teams. I didn't see that intensity from them at all, and you can see it. It was night and day from game 1 to game 2. In game 2, they were in the passing lanes like crazy. In the first quarter, it really flashed, but in game 1, the biggest reason why they lost is I think the pick and roll, Andre Drummond putting him in those situations. He overplayed on Booker, whoever was a ball handler at the time, and it would allow DeAndre Ayton to get very easy buckets.
He still was killing.
I think in game 2,
Drummond sucks.
Ayton was killing game 2.
Yeah, he was good. In game 2, I think they went to Marc Gasol, and Marc Gasol brought in a better defensive presence. I think going forward, Gasol will probably play more minutes than Drummond. I think Drummond, it really depends on how he starts, because he only played that much in game 2 because in the first quarter of game 2, he had a double-double. Like, he already was dominating the boards. He was making the impact. But if he's not doing something like that, I expect Marc Gasol to really, replace him very quickly. I also didn't see much double teams from the Lakers towards Devin Booker in the first half of game 2. In the second half, they started to do it a little bit more, but they're starting to give Devin Booker a little bit more looks, which is causing him to think more before he makes a play. So I think it's Lakers in 5. I think they win next 2 in LA, and I think they close it out in Phoenix. Yeah. Maybe it can go 6, but without Chris Paul, I really doubt that it's going 6.
So you're changing your take again.
Well, I mean,
you didn't have Lakers in 5.
I know, but
I definitely had Lakers in 5.
Did you really?
Yeah.
I was about to say, you can't blame him because the Chris Paul injury is major.
I would
hope anybody's thoughts would change after an injury
I guarantee you I didn't have the Suns in 7.
I didn't.
I don't know. You definitely nobody picked the Suns.
You picked the Lakers in 7.
Yeah,
me too.
I picked the Lakers.
I didn't have the Lakers in 7. I
think you had the
No. I remember watching the segment. I said Lakers in 5. Oh. I said I don't think the Lakers are going to lose. I think they're going to maybe lose the first game, and they're going to win the next 4. And I still stand by that.
You got to give some credit to Phoenix. Game 1, game 2, you saw the adjustments from the Lakers defensively, but I think Phoenix still kept coming, still played the same way they played. They play hard. They're a young team, but they're still doing their thing. You got to give them credit. They're playing the best they can without their leader. Him being banged up and not be able to play at his best. You still see Devin Booker, Jay Crowder, DeAndre, and he's balling. So you still see that. Yeah, like you see Bridges. They're doing their thing. So you got to give them credit. This Lakers team is just superior in experience. They have the best player, the real best player in the world. So they have that guy.
They have Luka?
No, they have LeBron, the James.
Okay.
The real best player in the world. Okay. Anyways, they have Anthony Davis. He's starting to get back to his self. So I think it's just too much firepower for Phoenix. But this, we all figured that. We thought Lakers was gonna win. The adjustments. I hope Chris Paul. It sucks for Chris Paul because it feels like it happens every year with the team. He always gets hurt. Main storyline. He always gets hurt. Last year it didn't happen with OKC, but with Houston it happened.
Would have beat the Warriors.
The Clippers
Clippers
with his
that happened.
hamstring.
Yeah, like it's a terrible feeling. But I hope he plays tonight. I hope he thugs it out. It's a playoff game. I know he's gonna, if he's ready, he's gonna play, and I hope they make it a tougher fight. I think Lakers steal 2. I said steal. Wow. I said I think the Lakers take 2 in LA, and I think Phoenix grabs 1 when they go back home. Pause. And then the Lakers finish it up game 6.
I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, what could I say? My biggest takeaway is Chris Paul got hurt. I mean, the shoulder injury. Like, I mean, if you've been watching the games, you see that he doesn't have the same zip on the ball. He can't dribble that well. Can't shoot. He's favoring his shoulder, and that's big because. I mean, I didn't think he was MVP, and I'm pretty sure nobody here thought he was MVP, but we're talking about a guy who impacts winning, who impacted the culture in Phoenix, who helps other players get better. You know what I mean? So there's not really much to say. I think I was going to say Lakers in 7 because I thought that Anthony Davis, LeBron coming back from injuries and then having to play high-intensity basketball, the Suns caught him at the best possible time, but with Chris Paul out, a heightened playmaking role for Devin Booker, and all these young guys got to step up who this is their first time in the playoffs. So against a team that just won the championship. So I don't see how this is going to go 7 anymore. I say Lakers in 5. I think they're going to win the next 2 in L.A., and I think they're going to just close it out in Phoenix just because of the Chris Paul injury.
Yeah, and honestly, I think one of these games, I'm not sure which one, but one of these games are going to be a blowout where the Lakers are really going to put their foot on Phoenix next. Because the thing about it is that even in game 2, there were stretches where the Lakers could have pulled away, but Phoenix kept fighting back. I'm not sure if they still have that this game. I don't know if Cameron Payne has 19 points off the bench again. He's probably going to start.
He's gotten better, though.
He was wilding on that Caruso.
Cam Payne is good, but Cam Payne. So he is good. But I don't know. I don't know if he is going to have a performance like he did again in game 3 or in other games like he did in game 2.
It's asking a lot for these young players.
DeAndre Ayton without a floor general and Chris Paul or even a guy to really set him up, I'm not sure. I think DeAndre Ayton, he's been playing phenomenal, no doubt about it.
But Chris Paul has definitely helped him.
Yeah, I don't think he's a 20.
I think it was more Devin Booker than Chris Paul.
I don't think he's a 22 and 14 guy. I see more of like a 18, 17 and 14 guy. I think the rebounds stay around the same, but I think he's been having out-of-body performances these past couple of games. And Devin Booker, if he starts to get double-teamed more, we're not sure how he's going to turn out in this series. But other guys got to step up. Mikal Bridges has to step up. Jay Crowder has to step up. They have been getting open looks that have not been going down. So if they can start hitting their threes, this can be a close series. But I just think with the intensity I saw in game 2, it's just going to heighten in game 3. Their game plan is just going to get better.
Home too.
I think if they keep putting Drummond out there, Aiden's going to put him in the blender. I'm going to be honest with you. I think that's his favorable matchup. I think he's just
Drummond is so whack.
He's like, one time he came down, did an up and under move on Drummond.
He did a spin move up and under.
What the hell? I didn't even know he had that in him. So I can see Aiden putting up 20 and 14. Most of his shots is right at the rim, so all he has to do is just go up. Yeah. It's easy for him. So I can see him putting up 20, 14. But I think game 3 tonight could probably be that game where they put their foot down. First game in LA, playoff game. Chris Paul, we don't know, questionable. I think Lakers come out firing. LeBron and AD could be on one if they on one.
This is the first game at home, and they have a chance to be up 2-1. And if they lose, they're down 1-2. They're gonna blow them out tonight. I think. I
personally think Game 3 is the most important game of the series.
100%.
It dictates where the series is gonna head, who's gonna have the advantage moving forward.
I think it's like a percentage. I think 70% of teams who win Game 3 will win the series.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
So if the Clippers win Game 3,
what do you guys? You guys think Chris Paul? I think Chris Paul plays tonight.
No, he's gonna play.
I think
he plays, but I don't think he's gonna be good. Me neither. No, I just think his shoulders bothering him. It's not. You just watch him dribble, especially in Game 1 when it first happened. There was times he just lost his dribble on his own. Nobody was defending him. He just lost it. And that's because I think he's really, you can kind of see his shoulder is kind of numb right now. He can't really feel it that well. So, and there was even a video pre-game before Game 2 where he was going up for a layup on the layup line. And, he hit under the rim.
Oh, no.
So, this Chris Paul, even if he plays, I don't think he's going to be – I would rather play Cameron Payne and Javon Carter than play Chris Paul at this point.
Do you know what type of injury it is to the shoulder?
I think it's just numb.
I actually wrote it down.
What is it? It's something that you could take like a cortisone shot to numb the pain.
I think he would have did it though.
anything.
It's a contusion, a shoulder contusion.
Oh yeah, nah.
It's a bruised shoulder. That's really what it is. It's just a bruised shoulder.
Yeah, but it can vary on the recovery. It's not something you could just fix right away.
Yeah, it's gonna take some time for Chris Paul.
That's a healing thing. You
We
just
got
gotta
robbed
let it
of a
heal.
good first round series.
Yeah, it would have been a great first round series. It would have been a great one.
Phoenix is mad right now. I know they're mad.
I mean,
Two seed. Their second best player just got hurt.
and Chris Paul's not getting any younger. They
Dude,
had to.
look at his hair, bro.
They
He's
had
getting
to
old.
take advantage of this. I don't know. Bro.
And they didn't draft Tyrese Halliburton. He would have been the perfect player to fit in this series, honestly.
Yo, bro, what are you be talking about?
Nah, look, I agree with probably in this series, but like,
Come on,
I mean,
bro. Like, yeah,
it would have been good because they would have had a point guard to lean on when Chris Paul retires. A lot of Phoenix fans thinks Chris Paul's staying for a long time, bro. He's like 37,
Nah,
bro.
Phoenix
He's out
fans-
on the way. He's out of the way soon.
Phoenix fans think campaign is the answer after
They're
Chris
bugging.
Paul.
We'll see.
He's 26. He's 27, I think. He's young, but I don't think he's an answer after.
He got much better though, because
I mean, I still think drafting Jalen Smith over Halliburton was the worst
obviously
pick of
it's
the
a
first
mistake
round.
now.
I mean, I said it
Tyrese is a good
before.
player.
I mean, they're not gonna realize it until late. in life.
Tyrese is a good player though. So
The day of the draft, I knew it was the wrong pick. You know?
Didn't you want the Knicks to get Tyrese?
I did.
You were big on him. I do remember
did.
you. That's another.
But we got
topic.
quickly, and Obi Toppin in the playoffs. He has been flashing. He's been flashing. So I'm having some hope.
Yeah, look.
He's been dunking. He's been
He
doing good.
he be having his good little moments.
Yeah, he's been putting it in the hole.
Oh man,
So he's been really good.
hitting the 3-ball, and yeah, he might have been better than Randall. Can't lie to you.
What are you talking about?
Yo, your guy's
Talking
horrible.
about what I'm talking
actually,
about.
he's been playing bad, but
What are
still, Randall.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Your best player. Never mind. God.
He'd go on your team and be your best player.
He
right
probably
now.
would.
Randall?
No, 100%. No, wait. Whoa.
Nah, he would.
He probably would. He impacts winning, unlike your guys. Man.
I mean, it doesn't. I mean, he probably does. I
He
mean,
impacts winning.
probably does. I mean, is what it's looking like right now is Derrick Rose is your most impactful player. So
No, he has been, but Derrick Rose is. I'm happy for him. He's been doing a hell of a
me
job.
too. He's the best player on your team.
Yeah, right now he's playing like that. I have no problem saying that about Derrick. Derrick Rose is a phenomenal player. I have no problem saying that.
Yeah, no. 100%.
So the Denver Nuggets versus Portland Trail Blazers. Right now the series is split 1-1. I'm not sure if they're playing today. No, they are playing today. It's gonna be on at the same time during the Lakers and Suns game. But yeah,
7:30.
7:30 is the Bucks and Heat.
Yeah.
So who do you think is going to take the next two games? Blazers took game 1 in Denver. Nuggets took game 2. Game 1 was mostly about Jokic.
I think it's gonna be a split.
34 points. He had
Personally.
16 rebounds. MPJ dropped 25. And in game 2, Dame dropped 34, but they still lost. They got blown out in game 2, but it was a much more
40.
It was a much
40
He
game.
had 40.
Oh, he did? Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, he
but-
did have 40.
He had,
Oh, yeah,
he had an underwhelming second half.
Game
though.
1, Dame had 34.
Yeah, I
My
was like,
fault.
he had 40 games.
Game 1, the Blazers, everybody was playing well. You had Powell, Melo, Nurkic, CJ all played
Yep.
well. In game 2, in game 1, Melo had 18 points. In game 2, he had 5. They had
I remember I bet on him. To
they
get
got
10.
they got no bench scoring in game 2.
Uman.
Campazzo, Monte Morris, Austin Rivers, they have been, really playing as a whole group effort trying to get the impact that Jamal Murray has been having on the Nuggets. And it's been working so far. I personally think that it will split. I mean, I had this game going 7. I have the Blazers in 7. I think it will split though. Even though Portland is a really tough place to play. It's a really tough place to play.
Nasty. I had Portland in 6, I believe. I definitely have Portland winning the series though. I just think, like you said, you brought out Melo had 5. When the offense isn't clicking for Portland, you can beat them. But when they're on 1, that is a hard team. That is a hard team to beat, and I'm glad they got the split in Denver. Denver is still recovering from the Jamal Murray injury. Aaron Gordon, he hasn't been what they expected him to be as of right now. The guards, they're doing their best. Austin Rivers, Campazzo, they're doing their best to try to contain Dame and CJ. They're trying their best, but I think at this point, Portland's going to take 2.
What did they expect Gordon to be?
No, Gordon came as a defender.
Yeah, I thought it was gonna just be Jeremy Grant. I didn't think.
Yeah, me too.
I thought he was going to put up at least 17.
14. I thought he was gonna do 14, 15.
Yeah,
a game.
I thought he was going to up it up. With Jamal Murray out.
I mean, he did guard Dame late in the game in game 2
He's a
at the
good
second
defender.
half and
Did a good job.
held him in check a little bit. Dame's gonna be Dame, but
I got Portland taking 2. I can't lie to you. I think Portland, like you said, is
so
one.
they're gonna go up 3-1.
Yeah, I think Portland is one of the toughest places to play. I think it's going. Dame thrives at home in Portland in round 1. I think CJ, he's going to come out and perform. I think Melo's going to do his thing. Robert Covington, he's such a weird player to me. So, like, I bet on him. He had 0 points at one moment. I was just so frustrated. I don't. he gets me mad. But Norman Powell, like they have a good team. Nurkic is doing. He's a good player. I think this team, like this is going to be how much can the Joker carry them. That's how it's going to be. And I think so far he's been doing his thing. His team has to step up. But I think Portland is just too much firepower, and I think they'll steal too.
I agree with Joel. I think it's going to be a split. I mean, you know what you're going to get from Jokic. You know what you're going to get from Dame. It's really important, the second best player on each team, how they play. If CJ continues to be this, the second best player for Portland, and it's like eye-popping that he's the second best, then it's fine. But if Michael Porter Jr. can somehow step up and be the second best player for Denver, then I think that Denver has a shot to win this series. I do think it's going to go to 7. I think Portland's going to win, but I think this series mostly depends on the second best player, because you know what you're going to get from your superstars. You're going to have an MVP level performance from Jokic. Dame is going to be Dame, so I'm more intrigued by the CJ and Michael Porter Jr. matchup. Whoever can win that matchup and be the better player, then the team's going to win.
For me, I think
the team's going to win.
I think it's really about their bench. Portland's bench has to step up, and they have the players, Carmelo, Simons. I mean, they got the players to do it. But the Nuggets, I mean, Paul Millsap had a vintage performance in Game 2.
He had a good game.
He went crazy. He had 15 points in 15 minutes. He was just on one. And Marcus Howard actually, he had some impact off the bench as well. Monty Morris as well. So, I mean, it's a whole group effort from Denver right now, and that's what they have to do, because the Joker is going to average 30-plus points. He knows he needs to average that.
Yeah.
He's going to average that. And I think right now Nikola Jokic is really solidifying himself as one of the best players in the NBA. I mean, it's really hard to argue that too many guys are better than him. JC, before the podcast, we were looking up at this picture right here. You can see Harden, Dame, Joker, and Kawhi. And it's very hard to say that Joker is not the second best player on this list.
Wait. You think that's wrong?
I think Harden is the only person I would really put over Joker.
I mean, we know. What do you think?
I wouldn't put Kawhi over Joker right now. You would
just say the names in order.
I'll put Harden and Kawhi over Joker.
You put Kawhi right now, how Kawhi's playing right now versus Nikola Jokic?
He's not playing bad right now.
He's not playing bad, but do you think he's playing better than Jokic?
I don't think he's necessarily playing better. But I think he's not playing bad. Like, you're making it seem like
he's not. No.
He keeps making it seem like Kawhi is playing bad.
No,
I said I actually is he playing better than Nikola Jokic?
No, I don't think. But Kawhi's playing better than Harden. But you think Harden is better?
Kawhi's not playing better than
Kawhi
Harden.
is playing better than Harden.
Not.
He is playing better.
Kawhi is scoring more.
But that's because he's not asked to do as much as Kawhi.
That's my point. That doesn't necessarily mean he's just better.
Harden is the most important player on the Nets right now.
I agree.
He's not the most important.
He is.
You look at the record of the Nets with and without Harden. That'll tell you the entire story.
So let me ask you a question.
True playmaker.
Let me ask you a question. Is Dame better than Kawhi?
No way.
No.
Is Dame playing better than Kawhi right now?
Yeah. Slightly, I would say slightly.
But what did you just say? The Joker is playing better than Kawhi.
It really depends.
But I'm speaking more towards the regular season as well, too.
I mean, the regular season.
Because it's only been. If
we're talking the regular season, the Joker is the best player on that.
If we're talking about the regular season, that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't have the Joker less than 2.
Yeah, that's why I said
1 or 2 would be the perfect spot for him.
But wait, if you're talking just this season alone, all right, so okay.
Yeah, I said the only person I'd put him over is Harden, maybe.
But regular season, no, it should be the Joker.
Yeah, if we're talking about this year, yes, Nikola Jokic is the best player on this board right now.
All right, so what we confused about?
No, you made it seem like it was crazy to say.
No, I made it because y'all made it seem like it's so like y'all be putting people over Kawhi like it's just that easy. And then you just said you had Harden at one. He just said we're talking this year. So I'm looking back at you like
no, I said the only person I would put over him is Harden.
If we're talking about this year, it's the Joker, bro.
But this year, Harden was averaging like 13 assists per game, averaging 24 points.
11.
It was 11?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was gonna win. He was gonna have the assist title, but
if Harden didn't get hurt, he was gonna be top 3 in the MVP conversation.
And Joker's gonna win it. So what's your point?
I mean,
possibly.
But
you can say the same thing about Embiid though.
At the point of the season when they were playing, the argument when Joel Embiid got hurt was it was either 1 or 2 Jokic and Harden for MVP.
But if we're doing that before LeBron got hurt, he was the #1 MVP. So what's your point?
That Harden was playing at an insane level that Kawhi was not playing at in this season. Yeah, but LeBron, if he was on this picture, he would be 1. So what are we talking about?
If we're talking about,
I'm just talking strictly about this picture.
But he asked me this year. So this year, if we're talking this year, the Joker is 1.
So this year, including the playoffs,
the Joker is 1.
I said that Jokic should either be 1 or 2. That's what I said.
I have him at 3. I don't think people
like just this year in the playoffs.
this
I think
year,
he has to be 1 or 2.
this year in the play, Joker
That's
is
all I was
1.
talking
Okay,
about.
Joker is 1.
Now, if you want to talk about in terms of just a general list, okay, then it changes because then we got to take like the last couple of years.
Harden's still the best on the list.
Okay, see that.
In my opinion, he's the best on the list.
I don't like how people use just the moment to put other people over other people.
Well,
like,
Harden's not just been a moment.
No, I'm not talking about Harden.
Okay.
Neither
Harden or I'm talking about the Joker. Like I'm not. Like,
I mean, I've seen this from the Joker for the past 3 seasons.
But you didn't have him where he was the past 3 seasons.
Yeah, because
I think
now
people are prisoners of the
moment. You want to know what's the difference?
Last year, people were calling him the best center in the league too.
Yeah, he was.
No, we're not talking about centers.
But you want to know why? You want to know what's the difference? The last 2 regular seasons, he has not had what he's been doing this regular season. This regular season is the first time he's played at an MVP level, and it's also translated to the playoffs.
That is true.
But in every single playoffs he's been in, he's played basically what he's been doing in the regular season this season.
That is true.
So, but now he's actually doing for a full season plus the playoffs. So now he's officially solidified in that conversation.
That's true, but I don't think it's just easy to throw him over Kawhi. And Kawhi had an MVP like season, the regular season, and he's
this past season.
Yes, he had an MVP like
Kawhi
season.
Doesn't play enough games, bro.
Yeah, and right now in the playoffs, he's playing at a high level.
No,
They're just losing. That's
his
the difference.
Defense hasn't been good.
It's been all right. I mean,
it's not
what it was, but it's
not bad.
Yeah,
and what makes people put Kawhi over a lot of other players? What his defense used to
his
be.
offense and defense.
I say it's two-way prowess.
Yeah, it's his two-way. None of these players can play at a
two-way
level like him.
Right now, it looks like 1.5 way. It doesn't look like a 2-way.
I mean, none of these players will ever in life play at a 2-way level the way Kawhi does. Ever, like ever.
They won't.
And Kawhi will never play at an offensive level that.
Okay,
Harden
but
plays at.
but the game is 2 ways.
Kawhi will never pass like Harden or Jokic.
And but I'm saying like we talking this season. We could talk about the Joker, but people just be throwing people over Kawhi like he's some scrub. Like it's like Kawhi.
No, wait, but
you said, there's a gap.
He's not a scrub.
No,
Jokic is just elite. He's elite too.
So is Kawhi. Like you said before. Like you said before, there's a gap between all these players. Stop trying to just throw people over Kawhi like he's a scrub. Like this.
No, I didn't say that. You're acting like I said. Like
I think this conversation completely went left because I was strictly just talking about this year.
Oh, I said this year. I said the Joker.
Yeah, so like that was just my question. Just this year into the playoffs. Like we don't have to talk about the last 3-4 years.
Yeah, this isn't a lifetime achievement award.
It's a different.
This is who's better now.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And right now, you can't say Kawhi's better than Harden based off what Harden's doing in Brooklyn.
Love Harden, bro.
You can't. You just can't do it.
You love him though. Bro. You love Harden.
No, but I'm just saying.
Dumb nice.
Seriously, you just can't do it. You know
why can't you do it?
Because we're seeing what Harden's doing with 2 of the most prolific scorers in the NBA.
What did he do?
He's still scoring an average in 10 plus.
They didn't play most of the games. So what did he do?
Harden.
No, you said
You
said he's doing what we're seeing. What he's doing with the 2 prolific scorers. Kevin Durant barely played. So what are you talking about?
But when they did play, Harden
they played 7
out.
games together at 3. So what are you talking about?
When they did play, yeah.
So
you're talking.
Pardon me. 10 games. So you're telling me 10 games is showing me that
he's
that much better than Kawhi?
No. 10 games is not showing. You're asking specifically what he did with those 2.
But you know what? You're also missing.
But they're
without
all playing
those
at
2,
a high level. They're all playing at an elite MVP level.
But without those 2, Harden was still balling.
This is what's crazy about James Harden. This is like why it helps his argument. Because if you just look at them in terms of duo, when it was him and Kevin Durant, they had a winning record. They never lost. And then when it was him and Kyrie Irving, they barely ever lost. And they beat Kawhi and the Clippers. Like granted, it was in the regular season. So James Harden's the most important player.
But Kawhi also has a winning record. When Kawhi sat down, they lost by 50 points.
I mean, it was just a bad.
They're losing to the same team in the Mavericks. They lost to them twice.
But that's what I'm saying.
They were just off, bro. It wasn't like they played much. Nobody could hit a shot.
You know what
they do need him though.
You know
what I'm saying? Like
they do.
Kawhi is just as important
to the
Clippers as Harden is to the Nets. Maybe a little bit more.
You're talking about the most important player for one team, and then he thinks he's the most. I
think
James Harden's the most important player. So
you know what I love sarcastically? I love the fact that now that Kawhi has less talent than Harden, these numbers. He does. He does.
I think he has less star power, but I think
there's less talent on the Clippers than the Nets. Let's just be honest. It is what it is.
The Clippers are a better team than you guys.
But I just think
have more star power.
Wait, that's
ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
They can go 10 deep. Y'all cannot go 10 deep.
We have a deep
10
team,
deep
bro.
with who? Luke Kennard? Come on.
Luke Kennard is better than Landry Shamet. That's one of their guys.
That's honestly a debate. It's not like
it's a debate,
continue.
and that man's not even playing right now. He's getting no minutes.
Okay, all right.
I just think you're underrating the
I just don't think you guys are that deep.
I mean,
Talking about a
what?
team
We have
that's-
Blake Griffin off the bench is good. Jeff Green is
All
good.
right.
Nicholas Claxton is good. Bruce Brown is good.
Bruce Brown's
Landry Shamet
okay.
is good.
You're naming players the Clippers have.
That's
Bruce
deep
Brown is
team.
better than Nicholas Batum, if we're being honest.
And look,
that's
Yes, he
debate.
is.
I don't know about that one.
I'm just speaking on
Brooklyn
the
is
fact
a better
that,
team
that
than
you
the
just
Clippers.
dismissed the Nets. Like,
No, I didn't.
no, you
Yes,
said that
you
you
did.
just said
I
that
said
they
you
were
had better star power. That's all
no,
I said.
but you said they were a better team than us, and I
I
think
said
that
I think the Clippers are a better team.
and I think you could have that. I think you could
What
honestly
about-
make a good debate.
All right.
What about the Clippers makes them a better team than the Nets, though?
I think they just have a better roster. Like, yeah, they can go 10, 11, maybe 12 deep, honestly.
Name the guys. Who?
Kawhi, Paul George at the top, Pat Bev, Rondo, Serge Ibaka, Zubac, Terrence Mann is
So
a good player, Nicholas Batum,
Pat Bev,
Luka
Rondo.
Kennard.
Pat Bev, look,
Pat Bev
the
is trash.
trio of Pat Bev, Rondo, and Terrence Mann, that literally might not even equal Kyrie.
But that's where the star power is in effect.
but
I
you-
understand that.
Yeah, but you
take the
Kyrie's
stars.
also
Is
they're
Terrence-
part of
hold
the
up.
team. You have to count
If
them
they
in
get the
too.
same amount of minutes, is Terrence Mann better than Mike James?
Yeah.
Mike
Oh,
James
yeah.
doesn't play.
Yeah. I'm going to keep it 100.
Mike James is no scrub, though.
Terrence Mann, when he plays, is better than Jeff Green. When he
Better
plays,
than
is better than
Jeff
Jeff
Green?
Yes, when he plays, is better than Jeff Green.
Yo, have you seen?
I mean,
Jeff
Have you
Green?
seen Terrence Mann
Jeff
play?
Green's been very, very
Have
good
you?
this
No,
year.
no, no. He's
Jeff
seen it. Have
Green-
you seen
Jeff
Terrence
Green-
Mann play
Jeff
ball?
Green shooting
Joe
42%
Harris.
from the
Joe
three.
Harris.
Oh my God, Joe Harris. I forgot
Joe
about
Harris
Joe Harris
as the
too.
fourth best player on the Nets is better than anybody that's the third best player on the Clippers, if we're being honest.
Who's your third best player?
Probably
I agree.
Ibaka, right?
I agree.
So
I
how are
agree.
they bet? So how
I
are they?
agree.
And
What
then you
about
got
five?
and then Blake Griffin.
Blake Griffin is better than Marcus Morris, Serge Ibaka, or Zubac. I swear to God,
He's better
not.
than Zubac. What
No,
are you
he's
talking
not.
about? Yes,
if
he
he's not,
is.
if he's not better than Zubac, it's comparable.
Blake Griffin has reinvented his game.
Yeah,
He's
Blake
really
Griffin's
a scrappy
playing real
player
good.
now.
He's not.
And
no,
you're kind of you're kind of underrating Jeff Green too. Jeff Green's been
Jeff
very
Green,
good this year.
I would put Jeff Green up with Marcus Morris. Is that crazy?
no, it's not at all.
Yeah, I'm out. All
It's
right.
That's
really
not-
not.
it's
You
not.
haven't
What are you
seen Jeff
talking
Green this
about?
year.
New
Jeff Green's been
conversation,
very
new
good.
conversation, new
All right,
conversation,
let's
new
move on.
Yeah, this is
He's
crazy.
disrespecting the Nets
that
roster
was
right
No,
now.
but
It's
what I was
crazy.
gonna say that it's crazy how when the Nets by consensus to other people
You're
have
gonna
a
try to
better
Harden
team,
again.
have a better team.
You're gonna tie it to Harden
all
again.
of a sudden,
Oh my
Kawhi's
God.
numbers are so much impactful and all this other stuff. But then when Harden was on Houston and had a worse roster than what Toronto had, Harden had better numbers than Kawhi did in the playoffs.
Wait, what are you talking about? You keep
Harden
what are you
Harden
talking
on Houston had better numbers in the playoffs than Kawhi. Yet Kawhi
about? You talking about
got
in Toronto.
yes, but Kawhi got praised more because he quote unquote won, even though his roster was better. And now that Harden's on an
Wait, what were the shooting
superior
splits between
roster,
them?
Just hold on. 'Cause this guy, he's
now
there's something really wrong
Harden
with him.
now that Harden's on a superior roster, all of a sudden his impact isn't as much as Kawhi's. That's ridiculous.
Harden,
ridiculous.
you said Harden just so I make sure you
That's
said
not
everything
winning
right.
the chip without Harden, bro.
Harden, no, I just want to make sure I don't misheard what he said. You said Harden in Houston had better numbers in the playoffs than Kawhi in Toronto.
Versus
That's
Golden
what
State.
in Toronto. You just talk about one series, or you talk about the whole totality?
Nah, because Kawhi's
no, that's what I'm
postseason
I'm
Toronto's
talking
run
about
was
that
ridiculous.
the most important series of both of their playoff
Can't do that, bro.
years
Can't-
that year.
That's what I'm saying.
can't do
That's
that.
why I made sure I had to hear him right. You're comparing a second round series to the finals, which Kawhi made it after beating Philly, Milwaukee, and Orlando, hitting the game winner
Don't
against
mention
Philly.
Orlando. Who cares?
Okay,
about
sorry.
Orlando
Hitting-
took a
hit-
game against them, though.
Okay, we don't have to mention hitting the game winner against Philly, coming
going
back
down
against
0-2.
Milwaukee, and then going to the finals in the Warriors, and you're comparing that to this guy losing in the second round to a team that lost Kevin Durant and he lost on his home floor. That's what you're comparing.
For one,
No, answer. That's what
Kevin
you're doing.
Durant played 4 games
I
against
said he
Houston.
didn't play the last
The
game. That's
game
what I
that
said.
Kevin Durant went out, we went out in the third quarter, and
The
Golden
end
State
of the third, going to the fourth.
and they only had a 1-point lead on them.
Yeah,
Actually,
but I'm
Golden
saying
State lost the lead at a
so
point.
Houston could have
but
won
Toronto,
that game.
Toronto did not face KD once.
I mean, I do remember.
It's not the same team.
I do remember you clearly saying though that Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, and Draymond Green is still the team that was capable of beating Toronto too.
Yeah, but they didn't even have really full health Clay.
Here we go.
Klay was cooking in that
Here we
series.
go.
He was cooking, but he wasn't
cooking,
healthy.
but he got hurt. But they were winning games when Klay was there.
That's true, but he wasn't.
that was
healthy.
still the team that won
literally-
73
bro,
games.
He said this was the same team that won 73 games, bro. He's gonna
Yeah, but
keep
they
trying to change the
took
narrative.
Toronto to 6.
He's
though.
comparing a second round series to the finals.
I mean, we all knew it was
This
over.
against the same
we all
team,
knew
virtually.
it was over when Klay Thompson tore his ACL.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
while
but,
Klay Thompson was playing, it was competitive series.
but we
It would've
know,
been a good
but yeah,
series.
but we know that Toronto did not face Golden State, and I've been saying
At
this
full
for
strength now.
I've been saying this for a while. That plus it wasn't the Kawhi Leonard show. It was a whole around effort by everybody on that
was good.
team.
Team was good.
Pascal and Kawhi literally combined for like the second most duo in the playoffs in terms of points of all time. Like
And
it
do you know
wasn't
who
just
had
Kawhi.
majority of the points?
Because I do remember Pascal laying a couple eggs, but no.
No, he did lay a couple
no,
eggs,
no,
but
listen, no,
Pascal
you're-
averaged 20 in the finals.
You're right. You're
talking about just the
definitely right.
finals, though.
It wasn't
But
all
he played
Kawhi.
well other
It
series,
wasn't
too.
all Kawhi because that team was very good,
No,
and
but
they were
hold on.
very,
That
they
same
were,
team
they were
went
very
second
well
in the
coached
Eastern
too.
Conference
And
the very next
that
year.
same team struggled against Philly, and Kawhi had to will them out of that.
That's
the
true.
same team.
that's what a star's supposed to do.
But stop talking. Let's
Superstar.
compare second
Yeah.
team. No, let's compare second rounds. Second round, they go against Philly. Second round, you go against Golden State. Kevin Durant goes down. Kawhi has to will them after they're struggling. They also were down 2-3. You forget that? They were down 2-3 to Philly. Just like you guys were down 2-3. Kevin Durant goes down. Kawhi has to will them to a victory. You guys choke on your home floor. James Harden, in your eyes, was the best player on the court. Kevin
hold
Durant was
up,
not there.
hold up.
Hold on.
Is,
Kevin Durant was not there. He didn't play Game 6. I'm not counting Game 5. We're
Is
talking
going
about Game
down
6.
They could have won
2-3.
Game 5 too.
It's
Yeah.
going down 2-3 versus
they
Philly.
won 2 games when Kevin Durant was there.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, game 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So
Wait, hold on.
my
No, but
God,
what
that
I'm
just
saying is
changes
that
my whole
wait,
the
game-
mindset.
Bro, he
So
just be talking,
being
bro.
down 2-3 versus Philly is the same as being down 2-3 versus Golden
Look,
State
I-
with
look,
Steph,
no.
Clay, and Dre.
Without Kevin Durant.
Look. No.
Yes, even without
But listen,
even
but-
without Kevin
you're
Durant,
but
they
they
took
still got-
Toronto to 6.
No, but James Harden still got 2 wins while Kevin Durant was there though.
But Golden State plays
That-
differently with Kevin Durant. That's what I
that
think helped them
Kevin
too.
Durant puts them over the top because you, in your argument now, you're saying that if Kevin Durant was present against the Raptors, they would win too. You get what I'm saying?
The thing about it is that
And Philly, that Philly team was no slouch. I
There's
mean, they
a-
had Ben
this is the
Simmons,
thing,
Joel
this-
Embiid.
this is the thing
JJ
about it.
Redick, Jimmy Butler, like that team was tough.
JC, this is the
guy,
thing. This is
bro.
the thing about it. For one, when you're facing a team that has Kevin Durant on the Warriors, and then all of a sudden he gets hurt, Golden State plays completely differently than when they had KD.
Okay, so can I?
It's not the same
they
team,
don't.
bro.
They don't
They
have.
gotta
They don't.
stop.
Wait,
They don't have as much time to adjust.
Can
to
I ask
it.
you a question?
what
Because
they
you
do.
were a big Rockets fan when James Harden was there and present. So are you? So you're telling me you didn't feel at least a little bit more comfortable in being able to win the series that Kevin Durant wasn't on the floor with him being on the floor?
I felt a little bit, but I have a tweet
'Cause
back to that time that I said I had a tweet back to that time where I wasn't confident either because
But
I
were
knew Steph, Clay, and Dre could win a game.
Were you not confident because you were defending James Harden if he lost?
No, I was not confident because Steph, Clay, and Dre can win you a game.
I just don't know
Bro,
how you can
bro.
beat a team like that with Kevin Durant and
Bro,
then you
he's
just turn
just
around and you
talking.
can't
Because
and
it's
you
a
don't- and you don't have
different.
any-
It's,
and you don't have
they
any-
play a different style
He's
with
acting
those
like
three.
Jimmy Butler, Joel
time
Embiid,
out, they
Tobias
took-
Harris were scrubbed.
with
That's what
Brett
he's acting
Brown
like.
as a coach.
They took him to 7 at full strength the year
Bro,
before.
he's just talking.
It's a different. It's a different scheme.
I don't know.
It's a
Whatever.
different scheme that Golden State
mean,
plays with and without
It's
Kevin
not even what
Durant.
we're talking about right now.
No, but yeah,
way
it's
off topic.
a different scheme that Golden State plays with and without Kevin Durant.
Got it, bro.
Yeah, and plus you're talking about Philly with Brett Brown. Is Brett Brown really the coach to take him there? You're gonna trust Brett Brown and not get out coached,
I mean, he was up 3-2. Could have won, but Kawhi
With that
let him
same
hit the
cash you
shot.
But
said that
three-
was that dominant. They were playing
No, but
like
hold up.
hot
The main,
garbage.
the
That
main,
Philly
the
team
main
was
point,
nice.
the
That's
main
what I'm trying
point.
to say. He's making it seem like
Wait.
they're scrubs.
They were hot garbage, and Marc Gasol was holding Embiid in check that series.
No, defensively they were great, but offensively they weren't.
Well, that's
why
what
they were
they
down
needed them
2-3.
to be great defensively,
And,
though, to come back in
and
the
the
series.
Rockets needed James Harden to be great, and the Toronto needed Kawhi to be great.
They
Who
also
stepped up?
needed. Wait,
Who
they
stepped
also
up?
It
needed.
just confuses me. Like, if you took him to 7 the year before with Kevin Durant, and then you lost 2 games when Chris Paul wasn't healthy,
And then you like,
and then you beat him again 2 years with that full strength team that was nearly unbeatable.
Excuses no matter what.
You should be able to
It's gonna be
at
excuses
least.
no matter what.
I mean, we can't. It's
win
not
a
excuses, but we
game.
can't act like
He's gonna knock another man's run just because his man couldn't get that far. As if
No.
Kawhi didn't have a phenomenal run.
No, I didn't knock
just-
Kawhi's run.
Kawhi's competition
I just said
en route to the finals was very good too.
I didn't.
It's
I
very,
didn't. I
very
didn't
good.
knock Kawhi's run.
did.
I didn't knock Kawhi's run. No, I did not.
did.
I just said that Toronto
said,
Raptors
"Look
team
who
was
he
not
played."
full of
You
scrubs.
said no. You said look at who he played.
No,
That's what
I
you
said in the finals. I never said about the playoffs.
he played
and
the same
run to
team.
get
Y'all couldn't
there.
beat.
No, Houston faced KD 4 times. They lost to him twice.
I'm talking about.
They
in
went
game
down
6, bro.
0-2. They went down 0-2
And
with
then
KD.
and then
Was
you
helped when
tied
KD
it
was
2
healthy.
up. You tied it 2 up. Kevin Durant goes out. You have that fourth quarter. You guys took the lead at a point and you lost Kevin Durant didn't play that fourth quarter. The next game, Steph Curry had 0 points in the first half.
You can't compare
you guys
KD
were up,
playing,
and you lost.
You can't compare
the year
KD
before
playing
that,
4
you were
games
up 14
to Kawhi
points,
not facing
both
KD
game
once.
6 and game 7. Kevin Durant did play. You were up twice. You lost again. Stop using the KD played excuse. You guys were still a very great team that still were up. You guys stop doing that, bro.
You can't say that because it's a difference between facing a KD team versus not facing KD in the finals. There's a difference. Whether or not KD was out for 1 game in a quarter or not, there's a difference.
And Houston and James Harden beat both teams and played both teams. So what are you saying?
And Houston and Harden played great. It's not like Harden didn't play great.
Kawhi played great. The only difference is he won the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's just winning bias. That's really what it is. It's
Everybody,
just
what does James Harden want to do right now?
No, but
what do you go to Brooklyn for?
But you don't understand. You don't understand the definition of winning bias.
He knows he wants
you
to
don't.
win,
You don't
bro.
understand the definition of winning
This
bias.
is James Harden's best chance to win, bro.
The definition of winning bias is thinking that a player who won played better than a player who lost. That's not necessarily the case. Just because a player won doesn't mean he played better than that other said player.
We could all here agree that Kawhi played fantastic. He played
in the run to the finals. Yes, in the finals
he had one of the best playoff performance runs of all time.
Yes, in the
And
finals
then he knocked it off by winning the whole thing.
in the finals
And
it
won
wasn't
Finals MVP, right?
in the
Yeah,
finals.
duh.
In the finals, it wasn't like that though. Everybody stepped up. Pascal Siakam had a great game 1. Fred VanVleet hit a bunch of late
I
game
always
shots.
allude to the fact that one player obviously can't win a ring or series by himself. So yes, you need those complementary pieces. Yes, Toronto, they had a good team. They were led by a superstar in Kawhi Leonard. They got it done. You need those. It's not like Kawhi was gonna win without Kyle Lowry. Kyle Lowry was instrumental in that series.
But what was my whole point this time?
Everybody chipped in. Good
my
coaching.
my whole point this time was that Toronto Raptors team was a great team. It wasn't the Kawhi show. It was a great team.
It was a great team led by Kawhi.
But don't
I
compare.
agree.
The leader was Kyle Lowry, honestly. Kawhi was the best player.
Yeah, Kawhi was the
Kyle
best
Lowry
player,
was
bro.
a leader, though.
But don't compare. My thing was you compared a second round series to a finals. No, compare both their second rounds. Compare Toronto against Philly, and then compare Houston against Golden State. That's when they
That's
played at the
dumb
same
because
time.
we're comparing the teams that they faced. They faced the same team.
But
No,
you
they
can't.
didn't because you just told us they
Wait,
played
so hold up.
KD. They played KD for the majority of the time, and then played without KD.
Wait, so hold up.
Kawhi
If
didn't
we're-
play that same team. So
if
what
we're
are you talking
comparing
about?
Kawhi was down, and his series actually went to 7. So you can't say
if we're
Kawhi's series
comparing,
wasn't tough because
if
it took
we're
a game winner to win.
why would we compare second rounds when they faced the same teams
But
in
you
that in the
just
playoffs?
told us
You can't do
that
that
they
because
didn't
Kevin
play
Durant
the
was
same
hurt.
team because Kevin Durant got hurt and didn't play at all against Kawhi. But Kevin Durant played 4 3/4 against Ja.
There's a
So it's
difference
not the same
between
team.
comparing a team that one player was not in the series versus comparing a
You
team
literally
who
just
no
told
player
us
was
it's
in
a
the
different
series.
team when you just said it's a different team without KD. That's what you just told us. Different scheme, different plan.
They do play
team.
different
Okay,
scheme.
that's what I'm just telling you what you told us. It's a different team when KD doesn't play. Kawhi didn't play the KD team. He played the Curry team. You guys, for the majority of it, played the KD team. It's not the same team. You just told us that. That's what you just told us.
It's not the same team, but
So
that
why
doesn't
are you
mean. But Kawhi still faced Steph, Clay, and Dre, but he did face an injured Clay. So why would I
He didn't
compare?
he didn't even play a full Steph, Clay,
So
and Dre.
why would I compare Kawhi and Harden? Why would I not compare them to the team that they played, which was Golden State? Even though there was a different team because they did play a different scheme, they had mostly the same players.
So even though they was a different team, why would
but they
you-
had
okay.
mostly the same players. The defensive scheme does not change. It is the same, even without KD.
How many games?
The defensive
How many
scheme is
games
the
did Clay
same.
play?
He played 3.
So they didn't even play the fully. Okay, all right, yeah. Word.
No, he played 5.
Oh, he played 5.
He played 5. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the series was 2.
No, it was
too,
4
so-
and some change.
He played
It was 4
5.
and some change. He got hurt in
He
one.
got
game.
hurt, but he
He
played
got
5.
hurt
So he
at
played
the-
4
he
and
got-
some change. Because
he-
if that's the case, KD played 5 games.
I think he got hurt at the end of the third quarter.
Yeah,
No, he
the same-
didn't.
or in the
KD played
fourth.
4.
KD and Clay got hurt in the same quarters, bro. So if that's the case, they both played 5.
You talking? KD played 1 game in the Golden State in the finals versus the Raptors, bro. What are you talking
I'm
about?
talking about you. We talking about you said Clay played 5 games. No, he played 4 and some change. He got hurt in one of the games and didn't play another game. That's what happened. The same with Kevin Durant.
4 and some change, yeah.
That's what I said. You keep saying he played 5. No.
But he did play. He played in that 5th game. He played in.
That's
he
the
played
same
in
with Kevin
5
Durant,
games.
bro. But you keep saying Kevin Durant didn't play in that game, bro.
No, I
Yes,
didn't. I
and
never said that.
when we talk about Houston and Golden State, you say Kevin Durant didn't play 5 games. He played 4 and some change.
No,
But with
in
Clay-
game 5, I said I said
Yeah,
Kevin
you
Durant
guys
played
are
1
just
quarter.
going back and
my
forth.
God.
You
I
guys
said
don't
I said
agree with each
KD.
other, it's
I said
fine.
KD played 1 game in a quarter. He didn't. He missed 1 game in a quarter.
Never mind.
But he still played in that
can't
5th
convince
game.
me.
Never mind.
What are you talking about?
Just submit. let's
submit.
keep going.
So Hawks versus the Knicks. The Knicks tied it up at MSG. I thought they were going to go up 2-0. Obviously, the
Knicks
Garden was
basketball.
electric. The Knicks have the best fans in the NBA, no doubt about it. After seeing all the video, after seeing how loud the crowd gets,
Go crazy.
there is no crowd that is more passionate. There's no fan base that is more passionate than Knicks fans, which is why I think the Knicks will steal one in Atlanta, and they will also win one in MSG, and they'll go up 3-2, and then we'll see what happens after that. But obviously, they have to win those 2 games in Atlanta first, and the Knicks lost by 2 in Game 1. Randall didn't play well. Then in Game 2, the Knicks rallied back from a double-digit deficit in the second half, and they came back versus the Hawks. But Julius Randle still has yet to play like the most improved player, Julius Randle. RJ Barrett has yet to play like the young star I think he is becoming. Derrick Rose has been really leading the way. He has been phenomenal so far for the Knicks. Do you think the Knicks can take one in Atlanta? Are they going to split with Atlanta?
I think they'll split in Atlanta. I mean, my biggest takeaway from Game 2 is that the Knicks can really lock in defensively. I mean, that's no surprise. I mean, they've been probably the first or second best defensive team in the league, led by Tom Thibodeau. So when I was watching Game 2, the thing that stood out to me the most was that first 2 quarters, I think Atlanta scored 28 to 30 points, but then in the third they scored 17, and then in the fourth they scored 18. And if the Knicks can hold them to that type of shooting, then yes, they can win a game in Atlanta. I think this series is gonna go to 7. I think the Hawks are gonna win because I think they have a little bit more firepower offensively. But I mean, the series could go either way. But the thing that stood out to me in Game 2 the most was the fact that when the Knicks buckled down on defense and they get somewhat of a scoring contribution from whether it be Derrick Rose or somebody else, then yes, they can win this game. But Julius Randle definitely needs to play better than what he does. You can't have Derrick Rose coming in and winning you games. Julius Randle, you're the all-star. You're the most improved player. We need to see more out of you. I think this series goes to 7, and I think the Knicks definitely take one in an ATL.
Yeah, I agree with JC. I think there'll definitely be a split. I think this series is going to go back and forth. You know, I think both of these teams are evenly matched. I think this is going to be a great – I think, like you said, the fans in Madison Square Garden,
Go crazy.
That's what we needed. You know, that's what
I want to go to a Knicks game. That's how they got me feeling.
It was incredible. You know, the little spitting on Trae Young was a little crazy, but you know, it just shows with their passion. But it's a little wild passion now.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something that the world needed. New York needed. They needed that Glenn back. Like you said, Brooklyn. I know the Brooklyn Nets are here, but just it's nothing like Madison Square Garden being lit up and having the fans. You know, so it's a great feeling. But yeah, I think Atlanta's gonna be loud. I think Atlanta's gonna be lit. Like. You saw the list for the Knicks, who was there. You know, it was a lot of people there. I think Atlanta's going to have their celebrities there. It's going to be fun to see there.
Crazy.
It's going to be hard. You know, like we're waiting for that Julius Randle game. You know, we're waiting for that. We're waiting for that RJ Barrett game. And I got to go. Like, we're going to talk about it later, but Ja Morant, he had his game. Game 2 on the road. Yeah, he on the road in Utah. That's one of the toughest places to play. He had his moments, you know, playing. He had his moments. So it's time. RJ Barrett needs to step up. Trae Young, we've seen Trae Young. He had his moment in the Garden. Game winner, ice Trae. RJ Barrett, it's your time. We've seen Luka. Luka already has been having his moments. RJ, this is your time to show to the franchise why you are going to be one of their pieces down the line. You have to have your moment. I get it. Derrick Rose is a great player, phenomenal player, but Julius Randle and RJ Barrett have to be the key and the 2 best players if they want to win this series. Trae Young is there. Julius Randle, you have to match Trae Young. RJ Barrett, you have to step up. I agree with you though. Like defensively, when they were down, they were down a bit in that game. But defensively, when they buckled down, you saw it. They got in there. When Julius Randle, RJ Barrett started contributing, D Rose went back to his third role. You see the team the Knicks are going to be, so they have to be that if they want to win this series.
That was easily one of the best defensive performances I've seen in a while.
I mean, to me, I think that the Knicks should be up 2-0 in this series. You know, we have gotten contributions from Alec Burks, Derrick Rose, Emmanuel Quickly, Obi Toppin. They have all been huge off the bench. Julius Randle just has to come alive. He has to play how he's been playing. But also, I think that the Knicks defense, even though we have been holding Atlanta in check, and I do think it's easier for an offensive team to become or to hone in on defense than it is for a defensive team to become great offensively. Yeah. I do think that something about Tibbs' philosophy right now on defense is kind of hurting the Knicks. Atlanta's running this Spain pick and roll. It's like a stack pick and roll where they have one guy setting the ball screen, another one setting the down screen, and the Knicks are kind of getting confused on that action on the roll man. So I don't know. That's something that the Knicks have to adjust with going on to Game 3 in Atlanta. Because if you see Atlanta right now, if you're watching those games, they have a bunch of open 3-point opportunities that they just aren't hitting. Yeah. You see Danilo Gallinari missing a ton of open threes. DeAndre Hunter got it going in Game 2, but in Game 1, he missed a ton of open threes. So they're having a lot of really wide open 3-point opportunities because of that Spain pick and roll. So that's something that you have to look for. And we've been one of the best defensive teams in the NBA this season. So do I think we're going to step it up? I do, but it's going to be hard. And if Atlanta does get going, they are hitting their open shots, then it can get really ugly. But the Knicks have to be disciplined on defense, and we have to just get something from R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle. Thus far, DeAndre Hunter has been playing better than R.J. Barrett, and I think Barrett is the better player. So he has to step up and really do his thing.
What?
Nah, I like DeAndre Hunter.
You looked at me because you thought I was gonna say something.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna make a face.
Nah. I think I think RJ has more potential. I think right now
we pretty much covered the whole series. I think I think I do think if the Knicks can get a big like a game from Julius Randle where he dominates and they defend like this, then they could win this series. I still have Hawks in 7, but we need that big game from Julius Randle. And if R.J. Barrett steps up, that's even better. So,
yeah, I got Hawks in 7.
Me too.
I think Hawks are just
too much firepower offensively.
I think they just have too much. Like you said, they've been getting open looks. They're just not falling. The Mohawk Gallo, he's losing me. That's probably why he's missing. That Mohawk is terrible.
Hunter went cold. I think after the third and fourth quarter, he went cold.
This is like his 8th game playing.
I mean, not even though. Danilo Gallinari just doesn't play well in the playoffs. Anywhere he's been.
Gallo.
Pretty much.
In OKC last year versus Houston, he wasn't good. On the Clippers versus the Warriors, it wasn't
shots? Because I think right now, I think he's just missing shots.
I just think it's missed shots. When I've seen him in the playoffs, it's really just been missed shots.
Oh, so.
It's not really any. He gets his shots.
Oh, so he's just okay. So yeah, it's like that's what I've been seeing. He's just been missing shots. It really you guys gotta come alive. I know I get it. Alec Burke, he's been on one. D Rose, he's been on one. But you need Randle. Most improved player there. He had all.
Barrett.
He's gonna make it all. I think you need Barrett, but I don't.
Barrett's that second option.
But I think Burks and Rose are compensating for that. I think Burks is doing what R.J. Barrett should be doing, so it's kind of compensating. But I think Randle, you're gonna probably make an All NBA team this year. Yeah. You gotta be that guy. You can't come into this series. The series you probably wanted, and this team you've been dominating all regular season, and then you drop an egg. You got to come in there. You got to be dominant. You got to be physical. The series isn't over, and you still have a ways to go to definitely flip the switch. It's been 2 games, but for a guy looking for a max contract, and looking to be the face of the Knicks franchise, you got to be tough. I know it's hard to play in the Garden. I know that's a tough place to play, but that's got to be your Garden. You're the best player. We've seen Melo walk into the Garden, hit game winners, have playoff performances. I'm not saying it's Melo, but you got to step up to that plate and be that guy if you want to be the face of the Knicks.
I mean, for me, I don't think it's really too much about that because I do think they need to step up. But the Knicks all year have been a team that everybody's going to chip on. Everybody's going to chip in. Everybody's going to do their job. Everybody's going to play their role. Some nights, some guys are going to step up more than others. Like in Game 2, we didn't see R.J. Barrett in the fourth quarter. That's not out of the norm for the Knicks because usually R.J. Barrett, he doesn't play some fourth quarter sometimes if Alec Burks gets it going. So I don't think it's that big of a deal that Barrett isn't going. Julius Randle has been that constant the entire season, so we'll see if he gets it going. But at the end of the day, I don't really think it's that important for them to really play well. I just think as long as we play defense, they're efficient, and other guys can step up, and Alec Burks can continue to play well along with Rose and quickly, we will be fine. And then another game that happened yesterday, the Grizzlies versus Jazz. Ja Morant scored 47 points, and they came back in the second half.
You gotta stop.
Ja Morant had an historic performance in Game 1. The Grizzlies even shocked the Jazz because Donovan Mitchell did not play. And Donovan Mitchell could have played, but they held him out because of his ankle, and he was furious because of that.
Came back, he was on one.
But in Game 2, he showed everybody why he's this great playoff performer. And to me, watching the Jazz, even though I know Donovan Mitchell had a phenomenal performance and he is their best player, no doubt about it, I also think that the Jazz kind of showed a little bit that they're not just Donovan Mitchell. You know, even in game one, I think they could have won game one if they weren't shooting so poorly from three. Mm-hmm. But in game two, they started shooting way better from three and actually were shooting like they were in the regular season. And you see that I personally think that they could beat the Memphis Grizzlies without Donovan Mitchell. I really do. It might be a 7-game series, but I think they can do it. I think with Donovan Mitchell, it's a 5-game series or 6. I really don't expect Memphis to win another game, maybe one more, but I don't expect them to win.
Remember?
We didn't talk about this.
Yeah, we did.
We did?
Yep. I said it could go 6.
You probably did. Why you didn't give Ja Morant some flowers?
I said he dropped 47.
I want
He was good.
I want a little more than that. I want a little more than that. Nah, I love it, man. The Grizzlies, they're tough. They shocked the world by winning game one. Game two, they fought hard for as long as they could. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell put his stamp on it. He came in and showed why. Like you said, I believe I never thought Rudy Gobert was better than him or on his level. I think Donovan Mitchell was the best player on that team.
He's more impactful, I think.
And Ja Morant, you know, kudos to him. I've been telling people, you know, a lot of Ja Morant. This was the series he needed to come in. He needed to show why he was that guy from Memphis. He needed to definitely step up and be that guy. He stepped it up. Game one, him and Dylan Brooks put on the show. Game two, he put on the show. This guy is the future for the Memphis Grizzlies. He's their franchise point guard. I think next year he's going to take that big leap. There are people on this pod right now that told me De'Aaron Fox over Ja Morant. I don't think I'm still standing on the Ja Morant over Fox. I don't think Fox could do what he's doing right now. He's on one. He's doing something special. But Ja Morant is going to have Ja Morant is going to have Memphis in competitive basketball for a very, very long time. But I think Utah, this team, like you said, this team has a lot of guys on this team that can get a bucket. This team isn't just Donovan Mitchell. Jordan Clarkson, Bogdan Bogdanovic, Joe Ingles. I think Mike Conley. I think this team is really, really good and really set up to make a WCF run. This team can really make some noise. With the Clippers going down 2-0, you know, maybe Utah can shock the world, beat Dallas. You know, you never know. You know, this is a team that could definitely make some noise. They have Donovan Mitchell, who we know can get it going in the playoffs and can make some noise. Rudy Gobert's down there, so it's gonna be tough. Like I said, I still have Utah in 5. I think they're gonna win. I don't think Memphis gets a game, but I'm just interested to see how Ja Morant keep going with his performances, how the young guys do it. I'm interested to see how Utah handles the series.
I pretty much agree with both of you. What you said. I mean, I told Riv that I think the series could go 6. I think them winning one at Utah, granted Donovan Mitchell didn't play, it helps them a lot because now they're going home with the series tied 1-1. I think Memphis can take one at their home, but then after that, I don't think they're going to win. I've been impressed with Ja Morant. I mean, he's been phenomenal this postseason. I got to see how Utah plays games 3 and 4 in Memphis, and I got to see, like, if Donovan Mitchell's going to have any rust. I know he came back, he shot good, but, you know, you never know. Coming back from an injury that long, you know, it's granted to be some rust. But I think Utah has this series in 6. I also want to say that I think if Jaren Jackson Jr. was healthy all year, I don't think this is an AFC team by any stretch of the means. I think this is a really, really good team.
Where do you think they go, though?
I think if JJ was,
I think they go to like 6.
Triple J was healthy all year, like 6 seed.
Yeah, I mean 6 seed is right there.
I think they could have got 6 seed if Jaren Jackson Jr. And
I think they could have got 5th. It could have been where Portland is right now.
We could all agree that this team on paper,
Portland 6.
Portland 6.
Okay.
Dallas is 5th.
We could all agree that this team on paper doesn't look like an AFC team. They have a very talented team. They got Dylan Brooks, who's been playing well, Ja Morant, Jonas Valanciunas, Jaren Jackson Jr., Kyle Anderson's no scrub. This is a good team.
I'll say
this
I
is
think
a very
on
good
paper,
team.
people probably overlook this team.
I think on paper they still are an 8-seeded team, not because of the talent, because of their age.
Their age.
I think that they are now figuring out how good they are going to be and how good they can be, and they just have to put it all together. I think Jaren Jackson has to take that next step and be an all-star caliber player.
He's missed
Ja Morant,
almost the whole year.
We know is going to take that next step, but it's really who's going to be that third guy. You know, is it Dylan Brooks? Is Dylan Brooks going to be an all-star? Or is it going to be just a
very good
reliable player? Yeah,
I think
it really just
I can't see Dylan Brooks being an all-star. I think he could be a very good third option.
I can think he can be that. I'm not saying they're gonna beat them, but
I'm
that
just,
Iggy.
like, I know as stupid as this sounds, I'm trying to picture him with an All-Star jersey on. Like, I can't picture him with an All-Star jersey on.
I don't think he'd be All-Star.
I can't picture that. But I think he could be a good third option. I think for this team to take off, Jaren Jackson Jr.'s got to take that step. And that's what I said. I said this year, if they had him, I don't think they're the 8th seed. I think they're anywhere from 6, maybe even 5.
If Jaren Jackson doesn't take a superstar leap, I think they need Dylan Brooks to take an all-star leap. I think with the West being what it is, I think Memphis doesn't have, like, free agent attraction where anybody's going to go there, so they're going to need guys to really.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think
like, just with how good that team is and how young they are?
No, I think, like, the team, people will look at the team like, oh, I would want to go there, but it's Memphis. Like, I don't think nobody is going to want to go. You know, with L.A. being here, Dallas has Luka. You know, there's other teams in attraction. Houston's a good spot. People love Houston. San Antonio, the Knicks, like Miami. Like, there's so many teams that people are going to choose over Memphis. I think they have to groom inside, and I believe Ja Morant's going to take that superstar leap. I think it's the other guys. If somebody is going to take another superstar leap, you need 2 All-Stars to even make that WCF finals, you know, talking about that.
What do you think about Valanciunas? I'm not saying he's like
He's like 30, right?
Nah, he's like 28.
Yeah, he's
Really?
like 28, yeah.
I think he's good. Like, he's
good center.
He's a good pound in the ground. Like, he's strong. You know,
He's good.
Yeah, but I don't think he's
a good
that
center.
guy.
But I want to get back to something that you said, because I don't think Utah would shock the world if they beat Dallas. I think Dallas would shock people if they beat Utah.
Yeah.
I think Utah would shock people if they beat LA in the WCF.
I think the reason why I said that
Because you
I
think Utah's better than the Mavericks,
I
right?
do, but I also think people are gonna put. I think, like, I'm looking at it from a better perspective. I think people are gonna bank in more on Luka than Utah. That's why I say I think Utah would shock them. I think people, if Dallas beats the Clippers right now, who people think the Clippers would be Utah, I think people are gonna walk in thinking Dallas is the favorites. I know it's 1 seed versus 5. Versus 5, but I think people walk in and think Dallas is the favorites just because of how they beat the Clippers, and I think people will have Utah as an underdog.
I don't think that's the case if Utah with Mitchell in these next 3 games or so dominates Memphis.
I would say that, but if Dallas dominates the Clippers in 2, if they sweep them right now, I think Dallas would be the favorite walking into that series.
I mean, can you see Dallas winning that series?
Yeah, I could see it go
You think
either
Dallas
way.
can win that series?
It depends.
I
I think it'll be a good matchup.
Defensively, Utah's just way better than the Clippers.
I don't know.
They just are.
It's like
They're disciplined. They're more disciplined.
They're just way better defensively.
Is Dallas going to keep hitting at the rate they're going to keep hitting?
Yeah.
That's what the tricky part is for me, because they're hitting at a ridiculous rate.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. The first 2 games have been like ridiculous.
So it's like, are they going to keep hitting at that rate?
They'll come back down to earth.
No
bro.
defense can really
They'll
stop how they're hitting. Like Tim Hardaway Jr. is like, people are in his face and he's just hitting the shot regardless.
But it depends. Are they going to come back to? Right now they're shooting 50% from 3.
That's
are they
crazy.
gonna come back to earth and shoot 40? Because that would be still the best mark in the NBA if they do that.
Even if they,
or would they come back to earth and hit 34%, which they were hitting?
Utah was the
season.
best 3-point shooting team, and that's what you guys said, right? The league.
Clippers.
It was the Clippers. Utah was top 3 though for sure.
Okay, so what was Utah's percentage?
38.
Give or take.
Oh, my guess would be around 38 to 40%.
I would say like 38. But I'm saying, like he said, but is Dallas going to come down to earth in the second round or in the WCF? Like, it's like a time thing. Like, when are they going to come down to earth? Like,
I mean, do you think that like they can keep up those absurd shooting numbers for much longer? I don't.
Bro, I'm watching the game. I'm telling you, bro, everybody.
No, I know they're hitting.
Like,
Maxi Kleber's hitting.
Yeah, it's like, I don't. Like,
Jalen Brunson's hitting.
No, like,
I don't know. They're gonna come back down to earth though. They can't keep.
But then if Utah,
I
I believe if Utah's hitting like that too, then I think they'll beat Dallas.
Yeah,
I think that they'll beat Dallas hands down if they're hitting like that too. It's just
like how they've been hitting all year.
Yeah, like, I think they'll beat Dallas. So
it just depends. I mean, on paper, definitely the Clippers. It looks like the matchup better with Luka because of Kawhi and PG. But you look at Utah, their best wing defender is Royce O'Neal and Joe Ingles.
We getting cooked.
And Luka, honestly, I think would dominate both of them. But I do think Utah is more disciplined on defense to where
better team defense.
They're
right?
going to.
yeah,
yes,
they are a better team.
They're going to. They're going
that's what
to
matters.
have a better scheme around Luka than what Tyronn Lue has.
And they have
currently
Quinn
for-
Snyder.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
matters. Coaching, and they had the better as a unit defensively.
They've been together.
Yeah,
They've been the top 4-3 defense for like 4 years.
I would be intrigued to see that series. I'd actually prefer that over the Clippers and Utah series personally. I would like to see a Dallas versus
I want to see Utah. I hope Utah goes far. I like
Dallas
Donovan
versus
Mitchell.
Utah would be a great series.
I would
think.
like that more than the Clippers versus Utah, in my opinion. That's just me though.
I just hope Donovan get. I'll put you on.
No, I didn't.
No, I did put him on.
Yeah, but I put him on Ja Morant.
No, you did.
But he put me on Donovan Mitchell.
You
Though.
gotta
He
stop
definitely did.
lying
Like
with that,
100%.
bro.
Yeah, I'll put him on
Nah,
Donovan.
he did. He told me at a college, told me to watch his highlights, and then I just like this game.
You a hater.
Nah, you ain't do that, man. You ain't do that. I don't believe JC right now. So this is going to do it for this episode of the Pick Side Podcast, episode 87. JC, this is the first time he's been on the pod for like since episode 30. So,
Yeah.
you know, this was a great episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. We recapped some of the game ones and the games twos of the NBA playoffs. Tonight, the Bucks and Heat play the Lakers, Suns, and the Blazers and Nuggets. So if we said something on this pod, it's because, you know, obviously with the playoffs going on, it's going to be like a day later. So, but yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy. We appreciate you guys for watching or listening wherever you are.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want to, give our Apple Podcast rating a 5-star review and write a review if you want to. We're going to read it on the podcast and give a rating too. So thank you guys for watching and listening, and we'll see you next time.